Yo, 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 yo. I didn't even see I was live in the building. All right. But since I'm going live, y'all know I gotta do share my screen.
Troy, my clever technique. He's a very clever arch criminal. Allow me to introduce myself. Who knows what dastardly Croy my clever technique? He's a very clever arch criminal who must be put away. Another innocent victim of suicidal maniac.
Yeah, chat lives matter, baby. Chat lives matter. Chat lives matter, man. Anybody want to jump on the panel? We're gonna go through some stuff today that's very interesting. I wish Sean could come on and do all of this, man, instead of me copying and pasting and doing all this stuff. But hey, shout out to everybody that's in the building, man. We're gonna talk about IUIC versus 2819 Church. I had a confrontation with them today. Recently, and I always say this, man. A lot of people do what they do as far as debating. It's actually played out. People going back and forth. I try to avoid as much as possible. And I just want everybody to understand that there's hope for us as a people, for one, hope. And there's better things to do than wait for some deity to come back and do whatever. I mean, that's just where I'm at right now. All right. I haven't talked to Ngozi in a minute, man. I wonder how Ngozi's doing. I see him on my timeline causing problems as usual. Let me see which other group I need to send this to. The Dagger Squad. Dagger Squad. Okay. All right. So I sent it to the groups. Anybody want to jump on the panel and talk about anything that's going on in the world? I see Candace Owens talking about she regret doing this to Minister Farrakhan. Let me see. So this was the Day of Atonement. Let's see what they're talking about right here. Candace Owens, you have now entered into the building. All right, let's go.
In 1995, Louis Farrakhan was the most polarizing man in Black America. And despite being a powerful and gifted orator, Louis Farrakhan was just not about talk. He was about organizing. Even though he had a small religious denomination called the Nation of Islam, he was able to do something that most have never been able to accomplish, the Million Man March. On October 16th, 1995, 1 million Black Americans showed up to Washington, D.C., and it put some concern in many government officials, but they were not the only ones who were concerned. The Jewish community was concerned too. You see, Louis Farrakhan had a history of making quote-unquote anti-Semitic statements. And in January 17th, 1996, he would go on a world friendship tour to some suspicious places, according to Jews and Americans. Out of the 7 countries that he would visit 4 that stuck out as red flags: Iran, Iraq, Libya, and Sudan. Now, all of these are Muslim nations. All 4 of these at this time were under hostile sanctions, and they were considered U.S. adversaries. And as we know, all of these were enemies of Israel. So how is it that Louis Farrakhan, who makes anti-Semitic statements, visiting these countries that are also anti-Semitic? On April 4th, 1996, Louis Farrakhan would appear on 60 Minutes with the legendary Mike Wallace in one of the greatest explosive episodes ever seen on television. And he was asked about his stance toward the Jews.
My Jewish friends will say, Wallace, come on, we've heard all this before. He's not to be trusted. You know that.
Well, that's on both sides.
I know it.
That's on both sides. I could say, well, we've heard that before too, of reconciliation. Look at the Indians, look at all the treaties that were signed and look at where they are. So let's not talk about trust, because I really don't think that you've earned trust.
In the 90s, being anti-Semitic meant it came with a large price. But Louis Farrakhan was able to overcome that simply because of his ties to the Black community. Many people didn't care that Louis Farrakhan was AKA anti-Semitic, so he was still able to flourish, despite being threatened and having other issues going on with the United States government. But fast forward. The year is 2018. We're now in the social media age, and the game is different now. It's not like it was in the 90s. And Louis Farrakhan is being criticized on national TV by a young lady.
And what we're seeing take place on the left is that a form of extremism is starting to take place. You can't even get me started on Al Sharpton. I mean, as a Black American, I fundamentally take great issue with a lot of the things that he's done here. We're talking about a man that has frauded the Black community over the last 40 years, now taking a platform and telling us that we should be aligning ourselves with Louis Farrakhan, who is a known anti-Semite. And this is the same platform on the left that they tell us that we should be worried about Trump because he's racist, because he's sexist, because he's literally Hitler, their favorite thing to say. And yet they align themselves with somebody who is a known anti-Semite. Just consider that for a second.
This young lady is Candace Owens, who will become a burgeoning star in the conservative right. At this particular point, she's associated with Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA, who at that time was funded by the Jews. But if Louis Farrakhan is an anti-Semite, what proof do we have of this? In this sermon called Who Are the Real Children of Israel, Louis Farrakhan would start this off with an explosive introduction.
The architecture of white supremacy has never been brought to the table to be discussed. The architecture of white supremacy will have to be exposed so the tree of white supremacy can die and the tree of humanity can live. Who are the draftsmen and the architects of such an idea that has dominated our planet for the last 4,000 years?
He would then go to follow it up with this.
Our historical research department has studied from the scholarship of Jewish historians, scholars, and rabbis. And we have published volume number 2 of The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews.
This book will become one of the most controversial writings in Black American history. The first volume in 1991 blamed Jewish merchants and financiers for playing a dominant role in the Atlantic slave trade. In volume 2, the book would blame Jews for gaining control of the Black American economy. They would claim that after emancipation, Jewish business owners, landlords, and financiers exploited newly free Black Americans economically. And volume 3 would go over the Leo Frank case. I'll let you guys figure that out. And of course, this book has been largely criticized for being anti-Semitic in writing, but that's not all.
Look at what these people control. At every door that leads to power, they have a sentinel on watch. Somebody has to take on the synagogue of Satan, and here we are.
Louis Farrakhan uses strong language to refer to the Jews. And you've heard this saying because in the Bible, but he uses the term synagogues of Satan. In actuality, saying that the people that are doing some of these evil works who claim to be Jewish are not actually Jews themselves, but these people are of the devil. And these are some of the things, obviously, that's written in the Bible about the early attacks of early Christians. So this is his stance. And before anybody took this stance publicly, before Candace Owens took it and Nick Fuentes took it, Louis Farrakhan was the first person to take it. But then eventually Candace Owens herself would shift her position from supporting Turning Point USA or even Ben Shapiro at the Daily Wire, and she would also, quote unquote, wake up to see what Israel, in her opinion, was doing in Palestine. And then she would come out and make extreme cases like this.
I just hope everybody recognizes that, like, when it all comes down, they'll kill you too. Like, I just want to, like, it's just, you, when you get to the point where you have to, like, start saying that it's, like, cool for, like, innocent babies and children to die, and you're like, well, I'm in the crowd that's saying it, so my innocent children and babies won't die. No, that's not really how it works. When you get to the level of I will kill a child and lie about it, you're at the level where I'll kill anybody and lie about it. Like, there's a bigger thing happening here. So don't think you're, like, marked safe by being a sellout and pretending like you don't think that, you know, babies dying is wrong. Just want to let you know, you die too. Maybe they kill you last, but you're dying too. Okay, just putting that out there.
Damn!
And then, flat out, she was asked one day on the stream.
Eddie writes, can you please interview Farrakhan? He's in his 90s. I actually don't know anything about Louis Farrakhan because when I got into politics, I was always told you can never speak about or know anything about Louis Farrakhan because he's a raging anti-Semite. And I believed that. I'm going to be honest, totally believe that. Because why would people say that if it wasn't true? And these were people very much on the right. And yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and be honest about that. That was what I was told.
Candace Owens is asked flat out to interview Louis Farrakhan. In that specifically, she was told that Louis Farrakhan should be avoided because he was anti-Semite. But now we see that Candace Owens is agreeing with Louis Farrakhan on many things, especially when it comes to the Jews. But wait, that's what? In Candace Owens' career, she has been used to come after Black America to build her audience. But now, as time has gone on, she's now identifying and agreeing with at least some of the things that Louis Farrakhan is saying. She's never coming out and says, you know what, he's right. But she did criticize him early on, and now she's agreeing with his talking points, thought of actually apologizing for what she's done. And I want to give a big shout out to where I actually got this video idea from, and it was from The Real Dana. Candace Owens admits she was wrong about Louis Farrakhan. Give her a round of applause for this great video. But there's something else I want to talk about. What if she's wrong about something else?
Woo!
The one thing about getting older is that you figure out that your positions are wrong about many things. You start to see the world for what it really is and not what you thought it was to be. Just as Candace Owens was told to stay away from Louis Farrakhan because he was an anti-Semite, many of us in the Black American community were told that we needed to get away from our own group because our group was toxic. There's the same thing that my mom told me. Is the same thing that you need to get away from Black people and move to middle America and, you know, work for a good corporation and just retire. That's what we've also been taught. But what I've seen from other groups that come into America, Hispanics, Indians, is that they appreciate their people and work with their people and they value their people. And so when they're able to do that, they're able to scale and they're able to grow. And Candace Owens most likely has been told the same thing about Blacks. The more she's going down this rabbit hole, the more she's getting away from how she started. And so I wonder, is she ever going to admit that white racism against Blacks is actually real? Is she ever going to admit that her position on Black people is wrong? Is she going to ever admit that Farrakhan is also right on race relations? Because if he's also right about the quote unquote Jew situation, what else is he right about? He has to be right also about white supremacy, doesn't he? By default, if you agree with Louis Farrakhan, when it comes to the Jews, as you would say, then there is no way that you could disagree with him about other points of white supremacy or supremacy in America towards Blacks. You can't disagree with that. To accept one and not accept the other is complete insanity. So if Candace Owens would accept or at least agree in point that Louis Farrakhan was right all along about a certain particular group, then she must also believe that his wisdom and knowledge must also indicate that he is right about other things. And then that would break Candace Owens' arguments about IQ with Black America, Black American violence, all of these other things. She would have to reconsider her position, but doing so would lose her position with her current audience. And so what she will do now is she will most likely agree with Louis Farrakhan with that, and the other things that she also will find out, she would ignore it. Because to understand that truth means losing your entire audience. And this is why, for me, I didn't think that it was cool to, become like a real big time Black conservative Republican audience or go down that route, or me, myself, getting funded by Turning Point USA, because I already knew where it would end up, and it would end up in a very disingenuous position. Don't get me wrong, I am more right-leaning in my political views, and that's just how I am and always are going to be like that. But I'm not so much more right-leaning that I'm more white-leaning. Woo! I may vote for the right, but I work for the Black. If you come onto the landscape talking about Black America and the Black community as you were in 2018 against Louis Farrakhan and Al Sharpton, and now you're not talking about that at all, then something must be interesting about that needs to be discovered. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Drunk. Appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe with the bell. We're out.
Well, welcome to the weekly Man Cave Sundays. Of course, this is your brother Garfield. Let me do a rundown of who's in the chat. Let me go to my cell phone so I could catch everybody and give them a shout out. And those who are watching, I don't know why you're watching. If you're watching for gossip or you're watching for edification or whatever you're watching for, I do want to say I appreciate you taking the time out on your Sundays to talk about the show. All right, or promote the show and whatever. Shout out to Yawasap in the building. I'm going to touch on the Edomite debate. I'm going to go to that and take a look at it. Shout out to my brother, Objective Perspective. But let me do this real quickly. Let me filter the messages real quickly. And let me give a shout out to everybody instead of picking out one and two people. First of all, James Corvus, I've been a supporter of the Dagger Squad for umpteenth amount of years. Shout out to you. Lamar Pope, always a supporter. Brother Law, a stand-up dude, my Muslim brother. Ahmed Belton, West Africa, Dine, whatever. Peace to the squads. Shout out to you, beloved. Another staunch supporter. Mongo Slade. Who is that? Lamb PS. Is that Monica? Is that Monica Page? I'm not sure. Mongo Slade. Mika. Mi amor. Party time. Let me see who's this. Ras One. Peace and love to the Ras. Free DNA test for abos. Oh, that's funny. That's hilarious. Broken Hearts Club. George Ricks. Yawasap. Everything is everything. Big up yourself, my brother. Who else? Objective Perspective 02. Peace and love. Peace. Brooklyn Magic in the building. True Story and Brooklyn Digital. Shout out to my big bro. Isaiah 43. Peace and love to your family. Asiatic 777. Let me see who else. Jim G. Peace and love. Cosmic, my big bro. All right. So let me start off by talking about biblical smoke. I had a dialogue with these brothers on Clubhouse. And by the way, I'm supposed to be on Clubhouse 1 versus 1,000 today. I don't know if it's going to happen, but either way, it is what it is. But let's take a look at this dialogue that I have here. Let me see if it's still here, and we could find it.
What did they do though? Look at this though, sis. What's the decision?
Is not
the names.
yes, sir.
You just that they know to put them on throughout their. We looked at what the other people were doing, and then we said, "I."
You want to work?
That's what we supposed to do. You can't find a Native American now. They out in.
Here are they that keep the commandments.
Yes, hallelujah.
It's in the Bible as well.
What
Read
I'm
that
not to
for
interrupt the script, but I would say I'm God's body. I would say like
they bring their children, their wives, their husbands.
That Jesus didn't die, because you're wrong.
You know. Who we got next? I can't remember. Era. I know I probably butcher your name.
Oh, Era.
Okay, so when they try to put that on us, we're using a book that was written before we was born. And then we show them that thing.
A workman that needeth not to be ashamed.
If you study, no one can shame you. And 28 verse 1 for our sister.
And none else.
So a change. Christ warned us. Tell you that Greeks were calling themselves Greeks. The Israelites living as Samaria.
At Jerusalem, Jew.
I don't know how I can find this clip.
I'm saying, Lord, help.
Psalms chapter 2. Lots for my people. Manufacturing company. Okay. And
Okay, I'm gonna look for that, yeah, man. Let me get my brother Yawasap's video, man. And what I gotta say too is the IUIC, the 2819 church, right? It's very interesting. I didn't even know who the 2819 church was. I didn't even know who it was. But check out this guy right here. This guy here seems to be a very popular guy. He has over 1.5 million followers on Instagram. And he had a conference. The conference was about prayer. No entertainer, no football player, no basketball player, no rappers, no singers, no R&B singers, nothing. Just a man who's preaching the gospel of what they call the gospel of Jesus Christ, a regular Christian. But he seems to be a Trinitarian because he calls himself the 2819 church. You know, that's Matthew 28:19. Talk about preaching to all nations. But listen to what he says right here.
Know that you are Hebrew Israelite, you can be here, but you cannot spread your doctrine here. You cannot give out pamphlets in the parking lot. We will hunt you down and put you out, or we will win you to the Lord Jesus. You cannot spread your false doctrine here. You will be exposed. You cannot preach that false doctrine here, but you're welcome to be here among us, but you're not welcome to spread your false doctrine here in Jesus' name. And I said that. We want you to know that you are Hebrew Israelite. You can be here, but you cannot spread your doctrine here. You cannot give out pamphlets in the parking lot. We will hunt you down and put you out, or we will win you to the Lord Jesus. You cannot spread your false doctrine here. You will be exposed. You cannot preach that false doctrine here, but you're welcome to be here among us, but you're not welcome to spread your false doctrine here in Jesus' name. And I said that.
Yo. But look at the brothers that came out, though. They came out to the church in hundreds, maybe even thousands. This is crazy. Look at this.
I want to tell you the shocking truth about Philip Anthony Mitchell and 2819 Church. All right, here it goes. And I'm not hating, I'm just telling you the truth. Listen, they just had 30,000 people gather in State Farm Arena for prayer. Not a concert, not some sort of seminar, but for prayer. Whether you like it or not, revival is happening in America. It's happening right now. And I'm not trying to puff up a particular pastor, but we have to acknowledge the move of God when we see one. And when Hebrew Israelites are swarming that place, you know something's happening in the spirit realm. So continue to pray for Philip Anthony Mitchell and Acts 28:19, but also pray for revival in America. Share this with everybody you know. I want to tell you.
I'm trying to figure out what's the holdup. What's the problem with these guys marching around Matthew 28:19 church. Hold on, let me see if I got something on YouTube I could show real quick. 28:19 church. Why do they feel the need to even harass these guys? I don't get it. Hold on 1 second. 2819 church. Why are they harassing these dudes though? I don't get it. So it's 2819 church. Let me see what I got on my timeline. Hold on, who did I send it to? Did I send it to this guy right here?
You, sir. I can tell you what the word means. Tell me. The word religion means to have belief or faith in a God or gods. So look it up on Google right now.
We can't, but we come from the old Latin. It means to hold back, restrain, and divide.
That's an etymological fallacy, brother. It is.
That's not even etymology.
No, it is. You want to know why?
Okay, brother.
See, he's not trying to talk.
Brother, because you got a smart fucking mouth.
Oh.
You're gonna find out that I'm not that kind of Hebrew.
I'm not that kind of. I'm not gonna back up.
You
think I'm scared?
I don't want my enemies scared.
I know you know.
I don't want my fucking enemies scared. I know you know. I want the motherfuckers.
I ain't scared.
I want them on their gang.
In the name of Jesus, I rebuke you. In the name of Jesus, I rebuke you.
Masoretic text. You, sir.
I can tell you what the word means.
Tell me.
The word.
My man is going in. But anyway, let me get to Yawasap's debate, man. Let me get that out of here and do what we got to do today. We're gonna have some fun today, man. We're gonna get some information out. I'm a different kind of Hebrew. I got my wrong information and I get mad about it. I'm a different kind of Hebrew. Oh man, yo, this is crazy, yo. This is crazy. I'm a different kind of Hebrew. Let me get my brother. Let me go in my inbox. I hope Yawasap got an iPhone because I don't know about them Android phones, man. Let me see if I got the Yo, by the way, last night, y'all, this lady came on and chastised me for being on Sonetta, talking about how I was I be flip-flopping. 1 minute I said Jesus don't exist, and I said Jesus exists. And then I'm saying to myself, what's really wrong here? You know what she teaches, family? She teaches that she's from the Ron Dalton School of Thought. She teaches that Israel is in South Africa. Israel is in South Africa. That's what she teaches. And I'm like, oh, I see why she mad. I definitely see why she mad. Let me find Yawasap. Where is Yawasap at? Yawasap. Damn, I text Yawasap in a minute. Ron Dalton got a text earlier than Yawasap. That's crazy. No, that's this. Yawasap probably don't have an iPhone. Hold on to Yawasap. Nah, Yawasap. You ain't going out like that. All right, here we go. Yawasap. All right, here we go. Yeah, this is the right inbox. He calling me wicked. So hell yeah. That's my boy right there. All right, so here we go. I don't agree with the doctor. I think it's crazy, but I'm a guy. I love information and I love debates. So let's check out my brother from Ramdan.
Okay, so today we're doing a debate on is Esau the progenitor of the white man.
Anybody want to
versus Captain Yawasap, and we are going to be deliberating on the facts and proving with the Bible and extra biblical sources. Is Esau the progenitor of the white man, or is he not? A lot of Israelites today in the world, especially in the camps, believe that Esau is the white man, and it leaves the question on where is the sons of Japhet if Esau is a white man, because typically people think, well, the north quarters is where the sons of Japhet are. So we need to bring understanding to people today on who is the Edomites, and then likewise, who are the children of Japhet, if the stance is that the white races are the Edomites. So that's important to know. because the nations of Japhet are listed in Ezekiel 38 and Genesis chapter 10 and other areas in the Old Testament and the New Testament. So we need to know who these guys are that are obviously listed as nations under the sons of Japhet, although the mass teachings in the Israelite community is that the white man is Esau. So that's what the debate today is all about. It's about edification, getting understanding, seeing facts, information, research, and not just somebody say, this is what it is, and believe me, and that's it, no questions. So we're gonna look at everything. And for those that are listening, use your brain, your common sense, logic, critical thinking, and explore everything that we're saying. If you don't believe it, fact check it for yourself to see if it's true or not.
Good deal, good deal. Ron Dalton Jr. has been on a hunt for all camp leaders around the Israelite community. If you won't smoke, he won't
Corey.
smoke.
Yeah, Corey. So everybody knows why we're doing this debate. I have put out a challenge to all the Israelite leaders. I put a challenge out to Captain Tazariak, Bishop Nathaniel.
No, I need to get this screen up. Let me get that up.
All right. Let's make sure. And let me just say, my boy be having the best slides ever, man. I didn't even watch his debate, and I know his slides is fly. Pick it up and let's make sure everybody can see it.
On the panel.
If somebody can in the chat, just hit if you can see Yawasap screen.
See that? Can you see that? Can you see that?
Just say we can see it. Once you say we can see it, we turn it up. We turn it up. Hey, Captain Yawasap, the time frame is set at 25 minutes. Of course, I'm gonna call it at 10, call it at 2, and I'm sorry, call it at 10, call it at 1, and call it at time. The time will start when you start round 1 on Yawasap.
All right, so once again, is Esau the progenitor of the so-called white man? Let's just get right into it, right? 1 second, let me just move this here on my way. What is Esau's appearance biblically? So if we go to Genesis 25, starting at 23, and the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from the bowels, and 1 people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, they were twins in her womb. So we see they're separate nations, and they shall be separated from the bowels, and they're 2 different people. Now let's look at this. And the first came out red all over like an hairy garment. Now you see the Hebrew word on the side being reddish or ruddy, but it's in comparison to something very special here, all over like a hairy garment. Let's see what this hairy garment is, right? 1 second. It says right here, boom. So this is Exodus 26 and 14. And thou shalt make a covering for the tent of ram skins dyed red, and the covering above of badger skin. This is the hairy garment that Esau is being compared to. Now let's look at this word and see what it says. To show blood, flush or turn rosy, to be red, to cause to show red. So this, who's the only people that you can see blood out of their face, especially when they born? That is the so-called white man. Let's just paint the picture. This is within the lost myth and lost tribes of myth. This is on page 85. But Genesis 25:25 declares that the ancestor of Edom was born red all over like a hairy garment. Give me 1 second. Pause my time. 1 second. Because y'all are in my way and I can't read. 1 second. Y'all in my way. Give me 1 second, Salakita. How the hell?
What is it? The chat or something?
Y'all are in my way. I'm trying to get y'all out my way. I can't even see the mouse. Give me 1 second.
I pause the time.
Yes, sir.
Is that something you can assist with, Ron? Are you familiar?
I can minimize the chat.
No, it's not the chat. It's us.
It's y'all in my way, and I can't read my information.
Can he just
literally see dot 3?
Can you just do full screen? Full screen.
I am full screen, brother. I can't. Y'all in my way. Me, myself, Corey, and yourself is in the way of my information.
Let me see. fit to window, view.
Yeah,
Is that
because I
better?
can
I mean, stop me from sharing real quick. I'm gonna try
one of the brothers says take it off full screen.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna try to do. Stop me from sharing, Ron, because I can't stop it.
Okay. Okay, wait.
Over like a garment of red goat hair. The tabernacle demanded ram skin for its decoration. Let's continue, right? Let's continue. So it says there are over 50 shades of red. So how do we determine what type of red is mentioned here in Genesis 25? First, in the Hebrew language, there is only one word for red. Secondly, context clues tells us what type of red it is. Genesis 25:25 states, like an hairy garment. The hairy garment is in reference to the ram skin in Exodus 26:14, a white ram skin that is to be dyed red and hung over the tent of the tabernacle in ancient times. Therefore, Esau was red as the ram skin that was dyed in the tabernacle. The dye used was from blood of a bug living in a certain Mediterranean area, who consistently matches this description of their color when they come out of the womb, the so-called white man, right? You also see right here in Exodus 36:19, and you see the color of the dyed red goat skin is blood red. This only shows one person on the world. Now, let's get into scriptural and historical evidence of Edom in Europe. Now, look at this bust of Antipater the Idumean and Marcus Agrippa. Both of them historically known to be Edomites, and they both look like the so-called white man to me. But let's continue. This is Esther 3:1. Now it says, after these things did King Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite. Now in 1 Samuel 15:18, he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites. Amalek is a son of Esau. So what do you see? Haman, the Agagite, is an Edomite. Let's continue. In the editions of Esther 16:10, for Haman, a Macedonian, the son of Hammedatha. So now you see the Agagite, the Amalekite, the Edomite is in Macedonia. Macedonia is in modern day northern Greece. Now look at 1 Maccabees 1:1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim, had smitten Darius, the king of the Persians and Medes, and he reigned in his stead first over Greece. So now you see, even Alexander the Great comes from Macedonia, which we're going to continuously see that Edomites dwelled in this land and then conquered Greece after the Peloponnesian Wars. But let me show you, right? This is 1 Maccabees 1:9, and it says, after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied upon the earth. Remember, in 1 Maccabees 1:3, it says Esau is the border of wickedness. They're the most evil people upon the face of the earth. Now, this is 1 Maccabees 1:14, whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen. Now, all of this is going to be important when I pull up the next historical source. This is Hebrews 12:16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau. So Esau is the pinnacle of fornication, the pinnacle of evil, the pinnacle of being profane. Now look at this source. Love in ancient Greece. It says, nevertheless, it seems quite likely that pederasty was not introduced into Greece, or at any rate did it prevail there to any great extent before the Dorian invasions. I'm going to show you who these Dorians are. For in historical times, we shall soon see it flourished mainly and attracted most attention among the populations of Dorian descent. Homer describes the Achaean and Mycenaean civilizations of the 13th and 12th centuries BC, the Bronze Age. To all appearance, it was the Dorian invaders of the 11th century BC who introduced into Greece both the use of iron and homosexual practices. And Plutarch's Ecrius, on the other hand, the champion of heterosexual, exclaims, homosexuality resembles the son born late of parents past their maturity or a bastard child of darkness seeking to supplant his elder brother legitimate love. These dudes is disgusting. To view the games in which youth then first began to strip for exercise. What is that? Before gymnasiums. Quite quietly at first, he started touching and embracing the boys. Hey, yo, there can be no doubt that the development of homosexuality was connected with the rise of gymnasia and arenas in which boys practice 5 exercises. So what do you see? This came from the Dorian invasion. Now, according to the source, the Dorian invasions brought in practice of homosexuality and building of gymnasiums to the Greeks. The Dorians were said to invade southern territories of Greece, and they themselves originating in the Balkans, which is northern Macedonia, the very same place that we just showed, or I should say, I just showed that Edomites dwelled. Let's continue. In the Peloponnesian War, what are the effects of the war? The war made Greek civilization weak in terms of military and economy. In its aftermath, Greek city-states were no longer as united as they were under the Delian League. In addition, the war exalted the resources of previously powerful states such as Athens. The rise of the kingdom of Macedon was also one of the Peloponnesian War's effects. The kingdom came from the north, exploiting the weak and divided city-states, and took over most of the Greece from 350 to 338 BCE. King Philip of Macedonia, which is Alexander the Homo's father, King Philip II of Macedonia established an empire that covered most of the region. Alexander the Great, his heir, later used the nation and the Macedonian Empire as a starting point in his endeavor to invade Persia. Let's continue. Now it says right here, we have seen that Greece was never unified. There was even dispute throughout the history of the Greeks as a people as to exactly who were entitled to be styled Greeks. In particular, the question arose reference to the Macedonians when they came to power under the leadership of King Philip, father of Alexander the Great. So what do you see? That the Macedonians at a certain point in time in antiquity were not even Greeks and were not considered to be Greeks. The Macedonians spoke a dialect of Greek language, and Philip adherently contended that he and his people were entitled to be considered as true Greeks. The claim was hotly contested so long as the people of Greece, in the narrower sense, had the power to hold out against a man whom they regarded as a usurper. Let's continue. Now, Alexander the Great. Biographical sources claim that Alexander was not dark-skinned. I'm going to show you that the original inhabitants of Greece were dark-skinned. Plutarch complained that the painter Apelles made him too swarthy looking, which is dark-skinned, saying he was actually white and even ruddy. Sounds like Esau in Genesis 25. In the face and chest, it is possible that this reflects a Thracian strand in his ancestry, since the ancient Thracians were known to have some blondes and red-haired people among them. Other authors claim that he had one blue eye and one black. Let's continue. Now, Theodosius, which is a primary source going back to Greece. The country by the sea, which is now made Macedonia. Alexander, the father of Perdiccas, and his forefathers, who were originally Timidae from Argos. This is very important to understand. All right, let's continue to paint the picture. The expansion of the Macedonians was associated with Herodotus and Thucydides with the royal house, the Timidae of Argos and Peloponnese. Now, Timidae, let's jump down to the bottom. The suffix "idai" means offspring or descent. So Timidae means descendant of Teman or Teman, which is the son of Esau, according to Genesis 36 and 11. So what do you see? Alexander the Great and his forefathers are saying that they are the sons of Teman, the children of Esau, and come from Macedon. This is what history shows. I ain't make this up. Let's continue. Now, this is King Alexander I, this is Alexander the Great, or I should say Homo, grandfather, the first Macedonian in the Olympics. This changed at the turn of the 5th century BCE. At this time, King Alexander of Macedonia wanted to participate in the athletic competition of Olympia. When he attempted to enter the Hellenodike, the judges of the competition denied his request. Why? Because he wasn't a natural-born Greek. There was naturally prejudice against Alexander's people since they lived so far away from the rest of the Greeks. Let's continue. All discussion of this exact point is still somewhat problematic, but it's quite clear to the most casual physical inspection that the Greek is of a physical type much more closely akin to the dark-skinned and dark-eyed Mediterranean races. So if the original inhabitants of Greece were dark-skinned, and the original inhabitants of Greece are known as Javan, and Javan is a son of Japheth, that means Japheth, Mr. Ron Dalton, that means Japheth is not the so-called white man. They're dark-skinned. Let me read that again. Greek is of a physical type much more closely akin to the dark-skinned and dark-eyed Mediterranean races than to the fair-skinned, blue-eyed Indo-Germanic tribes. Yet, the language of the Greeks is unequivocally of the Indo-Germanic family. Quite possibly, to the explanation of this anomaly may be found that the theory of a prehistoric invasion of Greece by a Germanic race. So what are they saying? That there had to be an invasion in Greece so these languages can begin to reflect the more fair and white-skinned and blue-eyed races. Let's continue. Now, from Strabo to Homer to Thermopylae to Thucydides to Anacharsis to Pliny, all primary sources of antiquity, you can't get around these guys, have Macedonia outside the ancient borders of Greece. I'm going to repeat that. They have Macedonia outside the ancient borders of Greece. With this illustration of Ardag, the Greek cries of Macedonia is Greece is shown once again to be nothing more than a fabrication. The ancient boundaries of Greece do not coincide with the modern Greek borders. These ancient frontiers of Greece are the basis which the present Greek state is using for the claims on Macedonia. According to Herodotus, from the establishment of the kingdom till the time he was writing his histories around 430 BC, Macedon had been ruled by 7 kings. Herodotus names all kings and the first to the last are as follows: Perdiccas, Argius, Philip, Arapus, Euclides, Amyntas, I'm probably butchering some of these names, and Alexander. During the reign of these Argod kings, Macedon was a minor kingdom on the fringes of the Greek world, and for the most part was not involved in Greek politics. So you continuously see that what the historians say, what the primary sources say, is Macedonia was not a part of ancient Ionia, aka ancient.
10 minutes left.
Let's continue. Now look at this. It says Amalekites, a powerful people who dwelt in the Arabian deserts between the Red and Dead Sea. A tradition prevails that a small number of Amalekites colonized the part of Greece where the stock whence the Macedonians sprung. I didn't write this book. Let's continue. This is the Erythrae, one of the 12 cities of Ionian League on the coast opposite the land of Chios, allegedly founded by a party from Crete. Erythrae enjoyed free and immune status under Alexander the Great and the Seleucids. This is important to understand. Now let's go to a following source. The Phoenicians therefore came from the Red Sea in the days Iowa and her brother Pharanius, king of Argos, and made them fly everywhere from the Red Sea, some into Egypt with their young king, and others to the Philistines, their next neighbors, and the enemies of David. And this flight gave the Philistines to call many places Erythra, in the memory of the Erythrians or Edomites. So now you have these people who are known to be where? Let's jump down. The name Erythrae comes from the ancient Greek word meaning red. The Erythrians were cited to be located in Western Turkey, Crete, and other sections in Ionia, which is Greece, in the 4th century BCE. This is how the lighter-skinned people and the white-skinned people began to have an influx in invading in Greece and conquering. This is history. Let's continue. Now, this Aramaic Targum in Lamentations 4, right? Let's see what it says. It says, after this, your iniquity will be finished, O congregation of Zion, and you will be freed by the hands of the King Messiah and Elijah, the high priest, and the Lord will no longer exile you. And at the time, I will punish your iniquities, wicked Rome, built in Italy and filled with crowds of Edomites. So why is the Aramaic Targums saying that Esau is wicked Rome, built in Italy, filled with crowds of Edomites? That has to be explained. Now, when you read it in the KJV, verse 22, it says, the punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. Meaning, you're not getting carried away into captivity no more. You're not going to get punished no more. And you're going to return from exile under the Messiah. Then he will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. So what does that show? That Edom, Esau, has to be the last ruling kingdom before the return of the Messiah and the last people to have the children of Israel within captivity. Simple to understand. Now, this shows the invasions of who are known as the Romans conquering and forcing out the Etruscans, the sons of Japheth, who are the original inhabitants of what we call Italy today. Now it says it was a tiny nation which began in certain career after the expulsion of the Etruscan kings about 500 BC. The territory of the Roman public thus far comprised only the city with neighboring fields for a very few miles around. I'm going to jump down to page 124. It says, from the annexed districts, Rome could draw an ever-increasing body of brave and hardy citizen soldiers. It was this steady agriculture expansion of Rome, remember that word, agriculture, farmers, you're going to see something later. It was this steady agriculture expansion of Rome, which is in little over 2 centuries after the expulsion of the Etruscan kings, made the little republic on the Tibet mistress all of Italy. The Etruscans, who I'm going to show soon, were dark-skinned people, the original inhabitants of what we call today Italy. Now look at this. The Jews generally call the Romans Idumeans, and the Roman Empire the cruel empire of Edom. It is difficult to guess their reason, since Italy and Rome are far from Idumea and have never had an affinity with the Idumeans. When the more learned rabbis are asked whereof, they maintain the great assurance and obstinacy that the Idumeans embraced Christianity, settled themselves in Italy, and extended their dominions. Even the modern day Jews say this, man. Even the Jews in the medieval times say this, man. Now, this is on traditions concerning the Edomites in this source, page 232. It says, this foretold by the prophets and all their denunciations of the severest plagues against the house of Esau, the cities of Edom and Mount Seir, which all belong to Rome, and the Christians. Why the Christians? It's talking about the Vatican Church, the Pope, the people who control what you see known as Christianity today. Let's continue. This is on page 590 in this source, dealing with Obadiah. Now it says, again on verse 2, I have several times shown that from Edom proceeded the kings who reigned in Italy and who built up Rome to be great among the nations and chief among the provinces. In this way, Italy and Greece and all the western provinces became filled with Idumeans, the so-called white man. Now, even Herod the king, right? This Herod Agrippa the first, he was the son of Archelaus, son of Herod the Great. He was an Idumean or an Amalekite. Now, you know how these people look. They look like the so-called white man. I just showed their lineage within the previous slide. Now let's continue. Now this is in another source. Look what it says right here. Lord of the universe, it is not enough for your sons what the evil kingdom of Edom, Rome, did to them. Let's jump down. And there will be a great hatred between them and the children of Esau, Rome, the so-called white man. You have to explain all of this. Now let's continue. Edom is compared to a pig and to an eagle, as is Rome and Edom and Seir and Esau. All were symbols of Rome. Now look at this eagle. This is the god Quas, found in Petra. What is Petra? Mount Seir. This is an eagle that has a lightning bolt under his talons, found right there in the Timanas Gate. Timan, once again, there goes that name again, right there in the Timanas Gate in ancient Mount Seir. Now let's continue. During the period of Alexander the Homo, aka the Great, the eagle began to appear on the coinage of Hellenistic royalty. Alexander did not invent the motif of the eagle on a thunderbolt. So now you have Alexander the Great bringing the eagle with the thunderbolt under it, the god Quas of Mount Seir, to Greece. That wasn't there before Alexander the Great. Let me read that again. Alexander did not invent the motif of the eagle on the thunderbolt or an enthroned Zeus with an eagle, but his coinage popularized the image as the increased coin production and had many types. His successors continued and sometimes modified this imagery, with the eagle appearing on the coinage in Ptolemy I, Philip III, and Antiochus I of Seleucia. You can't make this stuff up, man. Now, even the SPQR, these goddamn Romans, it says ancient Romans esteemed the eagle and adopted it as a symbol of victory. Pliny the Elder, another primary source, wrote extensively on eagles, noting that they possessed excellent eyesight and were skilled parents. Symbolically, he claimed eagles were the only creature immune to lightning strikes, underscoring their divinity. Up to modernity or modern times, eagles are depicted with lightning bolts clutched in their talons. This all goes back once again to what? To ancient Mount Seir, Petra, the Edomites. Now look at this. These are coins right here, look like so-called white man to me, all of the family of Herod and the Herodians that ruled, and they were known to be Idumeans. Now you also have the Al-Uzza, which is a goddess, look like a white lady to me, look like Karen complaining about a Jake. Now look at this dude over here, look like Trump when he was a little younger. These are gods in ancient Mount Seir. Let's continue. Now this is a 13th century Sephardic perspective. Look at this 13th century Sephardic perspective. Sefer Yosef HaMenkana, which boasts that we Jews are from a clean and white, meaning pure seed. Therefore, our faces are black. And then the Song of Solomon 1 and 5 is used as a reference. Now look what he says. But you, speaking of Esau, from the red seed of menstruation, therefore your visages are pale and reddened. Even the medieval Jews, the Sephardic Jews, the dark-skinned Jews of Europe said Esau's faces are pale and red. Now, this is the Khazarian correspondence letter in the 10th and 11th century CE. It says, interestingly, this letter provides not only history of conversion.
Time. Shout out to Captain Yawasap wrong with Dogobarium in round one. Lighting it up with an excellent PowerPoint, 25 minutes of edification. We're going over to round one of Ron Dalton Jr. of Hebrews to Negroes Network. Shout out to both brothers for coming together. The name of the title, just in case for people that I've seen some people just coming in, is Esau, the progenitor of the white man. I'm your host, Christian Corey. Hit the chat if you can see it. Hit the chat.
Can you hear me?
Yawasap, can you see it? I can hear you clearly. Shouldn't go there. Yeah,
Let me pause it for a second. What do you think, Mika? Let me hear your. Anybody want to jump on the panel and have a talk about what the gentleman just said? Yawasap. What do you got to say, Mika? I know you agree with him.
I think he making it up. He's making it up. It doesn't make any sense. The stuff he's saying, I don't know where he getting it from. Like, it's crazy. Do you agree with what he's saying?
I don't agree with nothing. Let me say this to everybody that's watching, right? First of all, how humans are portrayed on coins and all that stuff, we got to look at that and look at the history of artwork from the past. Not every drawing you must look at and say, hey, that's how the person look, and try to compare it to today, because then you're going to run into a lot of problems, because people who you think were quote unquote white would end up looking black, and some people who are black you'd end up looking white. Like the Assyrians like to draw people to make them look like them. So how are you going to determine what they look like, or what their color is, or whatever? But anyway, I will say this. Let's look at a map. I'm going to put two maps up. I'm going to put a skin map up, right? Which my sister Mika don't like. Skin map of the world. And then once I put the skin map up, I'm just going to show it just to make a point. I'm going to put this up. Hold on a second. Let me make this bigger. Skin color map. All right.
Yeah, it's weird how they make Esau a white man. I just don't know how they get that. Even though it's a story, I recognize it's a story. But how your story gonna have a white man being born first before the dark skinned man? I don't know. Whatever. Make it make sense.
All right. Let's take a look at this right here. Let me see if I could make this bigger. Can this be bigger? All right. So this is a skin color map. Why is it so small? All right. So we have the skin color map, and I have 6,500 years ago migration of light skin with blue eyes.
And let's make it clear.
Yeah, I want to make it clear.
Have blue eyes too. And they don't have to have nothing to do with a white person. It has something to do with mutation in the gene.
Actually, it does have a lot to do with what people look like nowadays that we could draw a conclusion from. But I'm going to get to that in a second.
You know, in Africa, they got blue-eyed people that have nothing to do with your...
There's a specific gene that you have. That's why you have blue. You used to have, like, the oldest person in Scotland was a black person with blue eyes. He has nothing to do with Africans or from Africa. He's a European.
That's real.
He's a European. Yeah, he's a European. That's what he is, although he's dark-skinned. Yes, I think that the thing with the whole color thing has gotten us so messed up. It's crazy.
Yeah, right.
Let me see if I could get this right here. All right, let me see if this is all right. All right. So you know what? Let me show this first. This is an article that I want everybody to take a look at. I want everybody to take a look at this article. This article is about blue eyes and light skin migrating into the Levant, the area that we call Israel today. So it's from Life Science, and this is from 2018. As a matter of fact, let me put it in the chat so everybody could get their own copy of it. What time period would Jacob and Esau be? All right, let's take a look at this. This is the blue-eyed immigrants that came from the Iranian area, the mountains, the Caucasus Mountains. All right. So let's take a look at this. It says, thousands of years ago in what is now northern Israel, waves of migrating people from the north and east, present-day Iran and Turkey, arrived in the region. And this influx of newcomers had a profound effect transforming the emerging culture. What's more, these immigrants not only brought new cultural practices, they also introduced new genes, such as mutation that produces blue eyes that were previously unknown in that geographic area. according to a new study. And this is from 2018. Archaeologists recently discovered this historic population shift by analyzing DNA from skeletons preserved in an Israeli cave. The site in the north of the tiny country contains dozens of burials and more than 600 bodies dating to approximately 6,500 years ago. So this is 4,500. This would be before the timeline of Abraham, the timeline of Noah, the timeline of Jacob, the timeline of Esau. So-called white people that you call white people today already existed in the region. This is my point of actually bringing this out. Not to debate if blue-eyed people can be black people or white people, which they can be black people. But these specific people had light skin. And how do they know? Because they had the AA45 allele, which is what light skin. So the amount of that you have determines how light your skin is. That determines that. So me, I don't have that allele. I don't have it at all. I don't have no pieces of it. Maybe Mika does, because she kind of light skinned.
Yeah, that's my result. My new result says.
Yo, you funny, yo. You funny.
So,
hey, by the way, before we go any further, just let Asar know I hit him up on this thing. I didn't know if it was the right page because he has 3 pages, I think, and one of them was, I think, somebody had taken it over. So I'm gonna let him come on. Possibly, let me see. I gotta call him. I'm gonna call him on his phone and try to get a schedule so he could actually respond to what Chuck Morgan said, which is what my agreement was with Chuck. Anyways, Chuck goes first. Asar responds. So people could understand the argument, because I think a lot of people just picking sides because of who they like and don't know what they're talking about.
Exactly.
All right. But anyway, 6,500 years ago is a long time period. I won't get into the dating, how it was done, but 6,500 years ago off, probably 50 to 100 years off.
Garfield.
Yeah, go ahead, sis.
Can we stop using white and say light skin, because white means something different?
Yeah, I did say light skin earlier.
I heard you said white people, and it's, what white people?
Watch this now. What is important now, even with this story, right? I don't need to read this. I put it in the chat. Let's look at this other clip that I'm showing now. This is, a lot of people hate this map that presented years ago. But if you look at where Edom is located, Edom would be located where you see this brown thing right here, or this light brown right here. So some of the Israelites would have been light brown, dark brown. So they have different skin tones right here. So where the Egyptians have light brown, whatever. But the Edomites are closer to the equator. That is my point. Them being light-skinned don't make any sense. And I don't know why I'm even doing this, because this doesn't make no damn sense, period. Because why it don't make no sense, family, is because Jacob and Esau were twins, same father and same mother. So coming out different skin tones is possible, but they're genetically the same people genetically. So one can be light skinned and one can be dark skinned. But are we saying that this guy Esau is the first white man that ever existed? That makes absolutely no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. So when people are, well, Edom is a white man, he's gonna come back to Rome. And by the way, the Edomites were assimilated into the Idumeans, who adopted Judaism, and they pretty much wasn't heard of from after the 1st century. They was gone. They assimilated. So them and the Judeans became one. So what are we doing? What are we really doing here? Because you know what it is with the Hebrew Israelites, they have to have a boogeyman to blame. I was in this group on Clubhouse today when these white guys were questioning me, and I said, I understand, I believe there's systematic racism, and I understand why they teach it. Some of it is stupid, like King James is black and all that stuff. And by the way, shout out to Brother Hassad. Hold on a second. Let me see if I could reach out to him real quick.
And you got to remember, his brother was a trickster. He took his inheritance, so therefore he's a thief.
Yeah. So the whole thing with this is this, right? This is a theological thinking, and they're trying to justify it. So they have to have a boogeyman at the end of the time. Remember, they said that in the Bible it says you reap what you sow, right? In a paraphrasing, and they also said the sins of the fathers will come down to the children. Now, let me ask you this, Mika. This wicked man, I'm talking about the wicked white folks, because I don't think all white folks are wicked. I will not say that because I want to be down, I want to be pro-black or anything. I feel the minority of wicked white folks that helped with the slave trade when the slaves came over, remember, it was legal to have slaves. You see, this is the problem with reparations too. A lot of people don't want to hear this. It was legal in the country. So now you want to punish them because it was legal. That's a problem.
No, I don't think that's why they punishing them. I think how they was treated is why they doing that.
Right. But let me say this also, right? The wickedness of the slavery, I do believe they deserve reparations. I will say that. I think they deserve it. How they deserve it is their business. I ain't got nothing to do with that. What I will say is this. What is the repercussions of what those wicked white people did? The Ponts, the different families, the Richardsons, the whatever, they are the richest people in America now. So where is the punishment for what they did to us if we are the chosen people? Where's the so-called karma? Although that's not really karma, but the so-called karma. I'm just trying to figure out why you have to make the boogeyman. You see, nobody is black, proud of who they are, teach your children right, live in America, because nobody is coming back to save us. And I think, this is what I think about Christianity, Islam, and all the religions, right? They all have a Messiah coming back. Even the Islamic, even the Egyptian folks, the Buddhism folks, the Hindu folks, the Shintoism folks, because I study multiple religions. They all are talking about somebody coming back. A Messiah. They all have the chosen people concept. The Zoroastrians thought they were chosen. The Greeks thought they were chosen. The Assyrians thought they were chosen. The Babylonians thought they were chosen. Everybody thought they were chosen. So who is chosen if everybody's chosen? So
Wait, yo, Garfield, what are you talking about? What are you talking about in Shinto that they have? Not all religions got a savior coming back. They definitely don't have one in Shinto. Unless you're talking about make sure you're on a Buddha.
No, hold on a second. I'm gonna tell you in a second. Tell you right here. Got my notes right here, brother. I'm prepared for everything today. Now,
that's good. Maybe I'll learn something today.
With Shintoism, I might be off, but let me double check right now. I'm double checking right now. Hold on.
So I know in traditional African spiritualities, they don't really got a Messiah figure.
Yeah, they deal with divine spirits and all that stuff. But hold on, let me find my notes here quickly. I'm scrolling through my notes. But anyway, while I'm doing that, I'm not the greatest multitasker.
Oh, you're not.
Of course you are.
You're definitely not.
Y'all already know that. Y'all could expose me and that shit. No, you're not. Shinto. Let me go to Shinto.
If people were saying that they could make they wouldn't die on some map coming down or anybody.
What's that noise?
That's somebody. Oh, it's going now.
Oh, that's James. Yeah, most religions they have prayer, tithing, charity, fasting, and some sort of pilgrimage. Or they have, I would say, not even pilgrimage. I would say, hold on. Hold on, let me scroll down to Shinto real quick. Shinto.
Garfield say he got it today. He ready.
No, Shinto not on the Messiah Savior figure list. It includes Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Zoroastrianism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism, the Baha'i faith, Taoism, Chinese folk religion, Manchaism, Rastafarianism, and New Age Theosophy, Chao Dai. No, it don't include Shinto. So yeah, you're correct. See, I'm not perfect. See that?
Oh, Garfield learned something. Go ahead.
I'm not perfect. All right. So let's get back to this thing here now about them having what today he playing. Now, hey, to my brother Hugh Dixon, you have an attitude, you got a problem with Garfield. I don't have a problem with anyone. You see, that's another thing too, crying for the small hats. But the small hats have a bigger claim to Israel than you guys. Because you see, with the Ashkenazi Jew, they have genetics that points them back to the Levant. And they've been practicing this religion for over 2,000 years. I don't think they're ancient Israelites, because I think the ancient biblical Israelites are not a real people. So whether they're white or black, there's no such thing as an ancient biblical Israelite. Now, as far as an ancient Israel historically, these people, I don't know. We don't know. Those people don't exist no more. It's a different new breed of people that's under Judaism, under Second Temple Judaism. That's not the ancient Israelites. This is why Divine Prospect is talking about pre-exilic Israelites. He separates himself from everybody by doing that. Our history been told. What is our? Our is a possessive pronoun. What is the our?
Hit the link.
All you need to do, all you guys need to do, whether we disagree or not, I'm not going to disrespect you. I'm just going to tell the truth to what I know. I don't see African Americans. I don't see even my own Jamaicans as being ancient Israelites. I don't. I think we adopted it because of systematic and race, white supremacy. We adopted a religion, which was Christianity, and we now have offshoots. So now you got the Aboriginals, people called the Abos, who is teaching that we not Africans and that we was born here, and we got 1% Native American in our blood, so we Native American, F Africa. Then you have the Hebrew Israelites calling Africans Hamites, another group hating on ourselves. Then you have the Moorish Science Temple. Then you have the Nation of Islam. Then you have Nuwapians. Then you have whatever. So, and by the way, too, everybody's waiting for somebody to come back. So when I look at my files, commonalities in religion, I'm looking at all these faiths, and they all have a Messiah. And I'm saying, I'm looking at the numbers, right? Let me tell you all the numbers of these people in these religions. You have 2.4 billion in Christianity, 2.0 billion in Islam, 1.2 billion in Hinduism, 500 million in Buddhism, 400 million in Chinese traditional religion, meaning Confucianism, Taoism, and folk religion, 300 million indigenous religions, Africa, Americas, Oceania. African traditional religions, 100 to 150 million. Sikhism, 30 million. Spiritism, 15 to 20 million. Judaism, 15 million. Baha'i faith, 8 to 10 million. Shinto, 4 to 5 million. Zoroastrianism, 100 to 200,000. That's my religion. I want to be a Zoroastrian so bad. But my point is, Scientology, 500,000 to 1 million. Rastafarianism, 700,000 to 1 million. Jamaica, Africa, and America. Let me say this. Every one of these religions, or most of them, are waiting for somebody to come back. Look at the uniqueness within all these religions, right? They have fasting, they have charity, they have tithing, they have prayer, and they have a belief in one God. Most of them do. All you got to do is break them down little by little. And they're all the same. It's just that everybody's trying to say, come back to mine, because mine have the secret sauce. So you see, they have one God. They all fast, personal fast, Ramadan, Ekadashi, charity, zakat in Islam, tithe, 10%, required charity, temple offerings, daily prayer, meditation. They pretty much have those 5 elements in all these faiths. Prayer and meditation is 100%. Belief in a higher power is 90%. And the rest is 80, 85, and 95. So when you're in a religion, don't think it's unique, because I wanted to see if all these religions have chosen concept. You are chosen if you believe this, chosen if you don't believe. And guess what? They all listen, Mika. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard of Shem, Ham, and Japheth? Listen to this right here, because this is a teaching moment for everybody. Have anybody in the audience ever heard of Shem, Ham, and Japheth? There's a reason why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah, Noah's sons.
All right. Do you know where Noah's sons are listed in the Bible?
Nowhere.
What, in Genesis?
Yeah, no. Where do we know where they're listed? They're listed in Genesis and in First Chronicles. If you notice in the Bible, you don't have Shem and Japheth anywhere else. I'm gonna say it again. Genesis 1 to 11, 20, chapters 11 to 26, from chapter 2 verse 4 to Genesis 11:26 is called the primeval history. Do you know when the primeval history was written? It was written late. Some scholars claim in academia even as late as 150 BC. Why is this relevant? Why is Garfield bringing this up? Because Shem, Ham, and Japheth is a concept that's directly connected to Greek traditions. You know who taught me that? Russell Gmerkin, Neil Lemche, T.L. Thompson, John Van Cedars. All these scholars who they call minimalists, guess what happened? When you look at what's his name? Let me find it on my screen real quick. When you look at the Bible. Hold on there 1 second. Hold on, I'm gonna find it right now. I'm gonna put it in the search. Let me search. Shem. Let me look for Shem. Boom. And why is this important? Because you literally believe Shem, Ham, and Japheth is a real thing. So the reason why I'm bringing this up, because
and it's weird because they share the same family, sharing the same parent. So now they just different people. It's wild. It don't make no sense.
Now, when you look at Greek history, right? This is a teaching moment for everybody. I've never spoken about this live. When you look at the Greek historians, right? Do you know that we could break down where the Bible get its stories from based off of what we know within the ancient Near East? So when it talks about the Table of Nations, what is the Table of Nations and what does it mean? It means the 70 nations in Genesis 10, and it's compared. Somebody coming on, Orlando Gullah. What's up, bro? Something on your mind you want to get off your chest?
That's Ngozi.
That's Ngozi?
No, that's his team.
Oh, that's homie. Oh, Gullah. I didn't even know it was him. Okay, what's up?
They both be sounding alike.
Yeah. That's my real name, Orlando. That's like,
like who the hell is that? All right, everybody pay attention. So Genesis 2:4 to Genesis 11 verse 26 is called the primeval history. What happened is you have a genealogy that needs to be talked about. If you don't know when the Bible is written, it puts you in a predicament. Like Deuteronomy is the first book written out of the first 5 books, because that book was considered the law originally from the 7th century, because we find word for word connections with Assyrian curses. So in Deuteronomy 28, we find word for word in like 4 to 5 examples of that in Deuteronomy. But why I want to get into Genesis 1 is because when was it written? Because you put yourself in a position, right, where you're saying, I believe the Bible wholeheartedly. That's fine. There's oral traditions and so forth. But how did these writings get together? How did they come up with these things? So I asked myself, when was there a Torah for us to follow? Is there any evidence of a complete Torah of 5 books by the 8th century BC? No. Do we have Deuteronomy, 8th century BC? No. Do you have a priestly law code? No. The use of Torah as scripture? No. Public readings of Torah before Ezra and Nehemiah period? No. There's no academic support for the existence of a full Torah during the Assyrian exile of Israel. None exists. So now if you are in the chat and you disagree with me, Why don't you put the information to debunk me right now? And I got an hour and a half for you to debunk me. You won't find anything. Scholars haven't found it. And what happened, Sister Mika, remember everybody, the Africans who we want to defend Mika against Tazariak and his hatred and call him Hamites, whenever we talk about the Akan, the Igbo, the Yoruba, and all these groups in West and Central Africa who claim, yeah, we come from the northern tribes that left, they didn't have a Torah. They didn't have a teaching yet. It wasn't written down to be recorded and taught. So how could they have brought the culture to that region when the culture didn't even get organized yet? If the Africans had said, right, listen to this carefully before y'all jumping out the roof. If the Africans had said they had Canaanite culture, they would be more believable. You know why? Because the Canaanite culture was already there. There was no organized thing for Passover. There was no Sukkot. So when you say, oh, I carry Sukkot all the way from Africa, you see it in Africa today, it's a lie. The Africans are lying on their own culture to be a part of the Hebrew body. So now, if there's no Torah, Mika, what is Zion talking about? What is Divine Prospect talking about? What are these African Hebrew Israelites talking about? They don't get off the hook. It's not just One West. It's all the people that claim it, because they all claim some sort of people migrated from that area and became a part of that culture. The Bible in Isaiah 11 tells us, what does Isaiah 11:11 says? It tells you where they were deported to or where they're going to come back from. It don't say Central Africa. It don't say West Africa. It don't say none of those areas. It tells you Pathros. It tells you the area in Mesopotamia, Assyria. It tells you Egypt. It tells you all the places they went. It's sad. It's a sad day. Sad day.
Very sad.
Now let me get to some more scholarship. Now look at this. Look at this, family. Hold on. Let me get this right here. All right. So the primeval history is from Genesis, really not Genesis 1-11, but it's really Genesis 2:4 to Genesis 11:26. It includes the creation story. It includes Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel, the genealogies, the Nephilim, the Noah and the flood, the Tower of Babel. This is the Bible. Scholarly view. They date it to the late Persian period or even the Hellenistic period. Now, what is the problem with dating the Bible? The problem is you have internal evidence. You have many motifs that parallel Babylonian and Greek myth. No archaeological trace of these stories in pre-exilic Israel. So there's no development of these stories until later on. Now watch this now. I'm going to get to Shem, Ham, and Japheth, which is going to blow everybody's mind. Everybody's mind. Even the believers. Y'all going to be like, damn, I didn't even think about that. All right. So now in Genesis, in the Table of Nations, I want y'all to think about this for a second. Genesis 5 and 11, there's 10 generation genealogies. You have Greek chronographers like Berothus, Manetho, and Demetrius. Genesis 10 versus the Greek 70 nations worldview. And what's going to happen is you're going to see that in Genesis 5 to Adam to Noah is 10 generations. And then you're going to also see in Berosus, you're going to see the 10 generations. So these are parallels. There's 10 generations before the flood for Berosus, 10 generations before the flood in Genesis. Berosus is writing a history of the flood from a Mesopotamian point of view. You have extremely long lifespans, up to 969 years, up to 64,000. It ends with the flood hero. One in Genesis, you have Noah. In Berosus, you have Xisthothrus. Now watch this now. Genesis 11, Shem to Abraham is 10 generations again. It's the same thing with this guy here. Now in the Table of Nations, you could compare Genesis 10 to the Hellenistic oikoumene. Oikoumene is Oikoumene. So the Table of Nations is 70 nations descend from Noah's 3 sons. Do you know the Greeks oikoumene also have 70? And look at how I'm gonna blow Mika's mind right now. Herodotus, Hectaeus of Abdera, Miletus, and later Eratosthenes divided the world into 3 regions. Which 3 regions you think, Mika, get off mic for a second, is that they took from? Which 3 regions you think they took from?
Man.
Which 3 regions? Because remember, the 3 regions are from Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now, what did the Greek and Hellenistic geography have? Europe, Asia, and Libya. What is Libya? Africa. What is Asia? Asia speaks for itself. What is Europe? So let's take a look at the list of countries that's in the geography of the world by the Greeks and the geography of the world of the Bible. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen?
I was just gonna say, Asia would have been from the Greek perspective. Asia would have been Anatolia or Turkey.
All right, watch this, ladies and gentlemen. Let's compare the Hellenistic tripartite worldview, which Herodotus, Hectaeus, Eratosthenes, or whatever, they divided the inhabited world. The inhabited world is called oikoumene, Oikoumene, into 3 major landmasses. Europe, the Western world north of the Mediterranean, that would be Japheth. Asia, the lands east of the Aegean, which include Mesopotamia, Persia, India, which would be Shem. Libya is all of Africa, which is Egypt, Nubia, and Libya, physical Libya. Everything south of the Mediterranean, especially Egypt and the Nile Valley. So look at this now. On the Genesis 10 and the Table of Nations, look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Japheth is Gomer, Magog, Haven, Tubal, Meshar, whatever. These correspond to regions in Europe and Anatolia. It parallels Europe. The peoples of the east, Elam, Asher, Arphaxad, Lod, Aram, these are Semitic and Mesopotamian regions. Assyria, Persia, and Syria parallels Asia. That's Shem. Ham, peoples of the south, Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan, all tied to Africa and the Levant, parallels the Libya of the Greeks. So your world, this is what I tell everybody. I've been saying this for years, but I never ever talked about it like I'm talking about it today. Japheth, Shem, Ham, and Japheth comes from a Greek world mindset. That means Genesis is connected to the Greek world, the ideas. They took these ideas, the same geographic areas that the Greeks had as the whole entire world, and put it in the Bible. That is the Greek influence. The Genesis 10, the Table of Nations 70, stemmed from oikoumene, who had also 70.
Oh, yes.
So they're splitting up the world the same way the Greeks saw the world. It's not that I used to teach the Greeks did it until I said, why would the Greeks call them the chosen people? It don't make no sense. So that's when Alvin, I don't remember Alvin Guller, that used to be in the back chat with us. Alvin said, Garfield, that don't make no sense. And he's a Bible believer. He's like, that don't make no sense. I know what you're saying. And he was right. So Genesis 10 structure is not ancient Semitic folklore. It is a literary device shaped by Hellenistic era geographic models.
Yep.
Correlation of Japheth with Europe, Shem with Asia, and Ham with Africa. And the coincidence is all of them say, hey, they Shem, because Shem and Ham don't really mix in the Bible. They don't really mix as far as a lot. Yes, they have some Canaanite wives and all that stuff here and there, but Shem and Ham really don't mix because they want to produce a pure timeline and lifeline. But remember, Shem is Asia, nation of Islam, Asiatic black man. Genesis 10 lists 70 nations. Why 70? 70 is a symbol of totality. So Japhet have 14 nations. Ham 30, Shem 26. You get 70. Pseudo Slyclax Purpulus, writing in the 4th century, he has a sailing guide listing almost 70 nations around the Mediterranean coast from Iberia to Egypt to the Levant. A circular ordering of the oikoumene. This mirrors Genesis 10's table, a structured list of all known peoples post-flood. Hectaeus of Miletus, writing in the 6th to the 5th century BC, named peoples by geographic region. Fragments show the tripartite division of Europe, Asia, and Libya. Catalogs of ethnic groups. And by the way, too, they call all of Africa Libya, and they call below the Sahara, they call them Ethiopians. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So let me just say that we might use Shem, Ham, and Japhet, but basically it's a Greek-style graphic historical mapping of humanity based on Genesis 10, not a native Iron Age Israelite concept.
Hey, Garfield, I was gonna say too, during the time when they was writing all this, you had different debates amongst the Sanhedrin. You know what I'm saying? That it had split up sects with the Sadducees and the Pharisees, and they debating amongst each other whether they should use Greek influence and traditions and keep or either just keep the laws and shit that was just traditional Jewish stuff.
Yep. I'm telling you, family, you once you believe in the Bible, you automatically hate Africa. Because Africans, they're trying. This is what the white missionaries did, Mika. They went to Africa, saw the dark-skinned people, and said, "Oh, these are Hamites." And it was a way how to identify them, to subject them to either slavery or something wicked and evil. Because remember, these are Bible believers, missionaries who are looking out for lost tribes. They're looking out for people who may have split and gone into the world, because they have to account for them based off of their Adam and Eve model. So it's either man is monogenesis model or a polygenesis model, that men popped up all over the world, or they come from Adam. And this is why I talked about the New York Holy Stones a couple of weeks ago, how that helped African Americans, because they were saying the Native Americans are Israelites, but they would say they're Hamites, to loop them into the Shem, Ham, and Japhet, saying that they ultimately come from Noah or come from Adam, so that they are biblical people, they are Hebrews, but they're not the saved one, they're not Shemites. So we should stop slavery because these people come from Adam.
And you know what? What up, Garfield? What up, y'all?
Mm-hmm.
What you just said is very key to our stepping away and viewing this holistically, and stop just wanting to believe a narrative.
We know
if you notice, right? Hold on a second. I'm saying to everybody, if you ever notice, ask a Hebrew Israelite, is Shem, Ham, and Japhet real?
They believe it's real.
No. They believe they're real individuals.
Yep.
But you can't show Shem, Ham, and Japhet before the Babylonian exile. This is something that's written later, because they're copying, and I'm using the word copy and stolen as per Jabari. I'm using it on purpose to say they're writing their history based off of the environment that they were in. So when they write Shem, Ham, and Japhet, they were in a Hellenistic world.
Yeah, it's on the Hellenistic term. That's why I said that. That's why I said that you had a debate between the Sadducee Jews and the Pharisee Jews. And the Pharisees are the ones that later became the rabbinic and the the ones that eventually became like Hellenistic Jews. And out of them Hellenistic Jews, that's when you kind of get the Christians, like the early pre-Christian Jews.
Yeah, and by the way, too, I'm supposed to do something on Clubhouse today, 1 man versus 1,000. I'm supposed to be battling all these Hebrew Israelites, because
you should have made it on YouTube too.
It's going to be on YouTube too. It's going to be on YouTube if it happens. Yeah. As a matter of fact, let me text him right now. Let me see if
we want to see all of them get beat up. We ain't playing. And we know Sabio don't want nobody to believe anything like that.
It ain't even about believing, because you can believe.
Oh, he just promoted it. I'm an Israelite. Prove me wrong. Starts at 12:30. Yep.
Okay.
It's about belief lining up with reality at some point, and then not lying about the belief.
You know what?
Don't try to force a whole nation of people into a place where they don't belong. That's the disingenuous part that really annoys me with Hebrew Israelites.
You know, some
Don't
people
rewrite history.
Real world.
Hold on, me and 12 tribes. Hold on 1 second. 12 tribes, we actually agree. We actually agree on this point. We actually agree. But let's not jump the gun on certain things. What I will say is this. We have a history, and we have a history to prove certain things, right? We have knowledge, we have information. The Bible is a book that put together piece by piece by piece. We got the book from the slave master, whether we want to agree or not. The majority of us, we descend from people who got it from the slave master. If you want to say Christianity was in West Africa, you're going to lose that argument prior to colonialism, because nobody's saying absolutely there was not one drip of Christianity or one Christian there. We don't know. You can't talk in absolutes that way. But to say that it was a significant community of Christians, I've never seen the evidence of that. I've never seen it. So this is why my brother is going through the whole thing, Sean. And I don't have no time today because I got to get ready for these Israelites today at 1:30.
What is Sean doing? What you said? What is Sean doing?
No, he's putting in that work, man. He's getting the stuff together.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
No, I would say the only Africans that were already Christians that came over here during the transatlantic slave trade were Africans from the Congo, which were converted by Portuguese people.
Yeah, from Congo and Angola. Those are the places that's where most of the people on the slave trade came from.
Yeah,
already Christian in Africa.
Yeah, them the only ones that was already Christian. Because especially the Congo. The Congo was the first Western, or Niger Congo, kingdom that was, Christianized.
But they
Christian. And they did, and it wasn't by force. They did it, openly, like the King Alfonso, he converted.
But they didn't bring it to America. They was taught something different.
No, I'm saying, but some of them slaves, like
some of the same Christianity, same Roman Catholicism.
Same Catholic, like if you ever heard of the Stono Rebellion in South Carolina, most of those Africans were already Christian. That's why they rebelled like that, because they kind of already knew what was going on in the world. Like they already was open to the Christian world and all that slavery and all that. You know what I'm saying? So they rebelled. You know what I'm saying? They kind of already knew the program.
Okay. So Garfield, your thing start at 12:30. He over there trying to set something up. Garfield is God. He about to beat up 1,000 people.
And then too, like the colonies, like during the chattel slavery period, after that Stoner Rebellion, the 13 colonies that later on was going to become the United States, they stopped getting slaves from the Congo because of that region, because most of the slaves were more rebellious. A lot of
they were still enslaving Christians, even though they knew they was Christian. They were still enslaving the Christians in Africa, even though they knew they was Christians, or they didn't care.
It was fun time. Portuguese didn't give a damn. Like, remember Alfonso writing letters and all that shit? They was like, they kidnapping my people and all this and that. The Portuguese ain't, the people the traders that was there, they was just being like greedy and thirsty. That's why Alfonso was writing them letters to Portuguese to get them, so he's like, they enslaving like innocent people, like they really only supposed to be slaving they enemies and shit, other people that they can enslave. It was a point where the Portuguese weren't giving a fuck.
Right.
Oh, that was their MO. That's what the Portuguese would do. They would just go around, convert the kings and everything like that, and try to control them. They tried doing it in a whole bunch of places. They tried doing it in India. They tried doing it in Japan. Tried doing it in China. Some people folded, and some people didn't.
Yeah, that's the order of the Jesuit.
Mm-hmm. And you know what's interesting? Everybody keep bringing up Christianity in Ethiopia, but I don't think Ethiopians ever had a evangelical tradition, so they never even taught Christianity to the people that was around them, let alone anybody from outside from their land. So I always think it's a mute point whenever they bring up Christianity in Ethiopia because it was a very because you can't like convert. I don't know. Maybe you can convert to
They
Ethiopian
can.
Christianity,
Yeah,
but
they can. It's the Eastern Orthodox, like the same way you had a time in Devon or Gondor where you had one king that converted the empire to Catholic Catholicism. You know, it's a Catholic Portuguese Christianity. But later on, after his reign, his son converted the nation back to Eastern Orthodox. You got different sects of Christianity, all right?
Let me play this
but
video.
here's the thing though. Here's the thing that
Pause. Let me play this video real quick. All right, 15 minutes.
You good, Ron? I can see everything. I can hear you clearly. You good to go, bro.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Let's go.
All right, so Yawasap used a lot of books and sources from the very same people that he calls Edomites, from probably like 400 years ago, 1,000 years ago, going back to the Greeks and the Romans. Anyway, a lot of people look to Black Hebrew Israelite camps for their instruction when it comes to Bible teaching and end times biblical prophecy. Hot topics are: is Esau the white man? Is he the white man because of red skin or red hair? Move this out the side, or red pottage. And the question is, are there humans with white skin the color of blood? He said that, blushing in the face, all this stuff. But in reality, when you see white people, even babies and even adults, when they're in their natural habitants, they're white, they're not red. Neanderthals had red hair, the Paracas skulls had red hair, and the Nephilim had red hair. And we're going to get into their skin complexion too. So the giant of Kandahar in Afghanistan had red hair. He had 6 fingers, 6 toes, 12 feet tall. He was depicted as a white giant, not an Afghanistan ethnic giant with the red hair. The Paracas skull, discovered in Peru in 1928, is over 3,000 years old. Goes back to 900 BC. The maternal DNA of the Paracas skulls is the same maternal DNA that's seen in Native American Indians in North America, and their hair is red. Nephilim giants and Homo neanderthalis existed before Esau was born. The trait for red hair and white skin existed prior to Esau's birth. The Neanderthal man existed. He was a man. He did live. He walked on 2 feet. He had white skin. He had red hair, and he was hairy. Therefore, he was a white man. And he exists before Esau existed. This is known fact. Esau is not the progenitor of the white race, the white man, even hairy or red hair, whatever you want to use. We see also in the Black population that you can have phenotypes where Black people can have white skin, like albinos or light-skinned Black people, and they can have red hair as well. And you can also find Negroes that have down Negroes that have hairy skin. That's just a trait that comes from two parents. Anyway, so here we see the Sudanese ambassador, a Somalian ambassador. They're all Black. The Hausa, the Nile Saharan, the Cushitic, the Bantu Negroes, they have the same DNA as the Israelites. Us in America have the same DNA. As we see that they're Black, the Khoisan is Black, the African pygmy is Black. Are there any white people in Northeast Africa or East Africa, indigenous? No. What about any Edomites in East Africa or Africa in general? Yes, there are. Could there be any Black Edomites in Africa? Of course. Are these Black Edomites Black only because of their Shemitic or Hamitic mothers? Because remember, Esau did marry with the daughters of Canaan and also the daughters of Ishmael. Where is the land of Edom? We need to figure that out. Also, how many lands did Edom occupy in the Bible times? Did the Gentiles switch up the location of the true land of Edom or the land of Seir? And who are the Horites and the Edomites to deter us from finding out where the true land of Canaan is? Let's look at Jasher, because Jasher is also used by the Hebrew Israelites when they talk about Esau and Zepho and the white man, and Kittim and Javan. So in Jasher chapter 10, verse 22-9, it says, Seir, the son of Hur, the son of Hebi, the son of Canaan. Wait a minute. So if Esau left the land of Canaan and went and intermarried and had children with the Horites, like Amalek, then according to Joshua, which the Hebrew Israelites they ascribe to, means that Esau is having a child, Amalek, with a Black daughter of Canaan. Because remember, the Canaanites were one of the sons of Ham. The land of Ham was Africa. the descendants of Cush, Mizraim, and Put are black. How can Canaan be a white man? He has to be black. So therefore, if the Edomites were light-skinned black people, let's say ruddy, and he did have children with Canaanites in the Horite land and in the land of Canaan, and it says that these were all Canaanites. It says in the red letters, it says, and he called the city which he built Seir, according to his name. That is the land of Seir unto this day. These are the families of the children from Ham. Ham is the land of Africa. Africans are black, not white. Indigenous Africans are black, not white. Let's look at the story of Jacob, because Jacob left the land of Canaan per the Bible and set south north for Padan Aram, or the city of Haran, where Laban and Rachel and Leah lived. So remember, he got 2 wives in Haran, which is Laban's daughters, and then he got 2 men servants, Zilpah and Bilhah, in this area. And then he came back from the north. Look at that. Padan Aram is way up north. And then he left Padan Aram and came all the way back down south to get to the land of Canaan per this Bible map. Notice how Edom is way below the land of Canaan. It's further south, past the land of Canaan. But Jacob was trying to get to the land of Canaan, not to the land of Esau or the land of Edom. In Genesis chapter 32:3, it says, Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau, his brother, into the land of Seir, the country of Edom. The book of Joshua says that the Horites are Canaanites. But we are believing that the Horites may be another race of people. And according to the biblical maps, Edom is below the land of Canaan. But he still sends messengers to the land of Seir and in Edom, far beyond and south of the land of Canaan. Why did he do this? Why did he do this when Jacob didn't have to pass through Edom or the land of Edom to get to the land of Canaan? It says that Jacob says to Esau in Genesis chapter 33:14, let my Lord, I pray thee, pass over before his servant, and I will lead on softly according as the cattle that go before me, and the children be able to endure until I come to my Lord and to Seir. Why is Jacob going to the land of Edom, or some land known as Seir, which people believe today is in the tip of southern Israel or parts of Jordan, when the land of Canaan is north of this? Why would he have to traverse through the land of Edom or the land of Seir if the land of Canaan was north of Edom? Numbers 20 and 21, the Exodus route. Moses leaves Egypt and he sends messengers from Kadesh unto the king of Edom. Why did he do that? Moses tells the Edomites, behold, we are in Kadesh, a city in the uttermost of thy border. Moses says, let us pass, Edom, I pray thee, through thy country. Esau refuses. Why does Moses have to pass through the land of Edom to get to the land of Canaan? So now we're confused now on the map. Moses and the Israelites leave Kadesh, a city in the uttermost of Edom's border, and journey to Mount Hor. The Moses and the Israelites, according to the Bible in Numbers 21:4, it says Moses and the Israelites keep traveling south after leaving Egypt, following the path of the river of reeds. This is Yawasap. Yawasap in the Hebrew is the river or large body of water of reeds. This is the Nile River, not the Red Sea. Sending spies ahead of the caravan. You can read Numbers 21 for yourself, even in the Hebrew. The king Arad of the Canaanite finds out when Moses and the Israelites are traveling away from Egypt south, following the pathway of the Nile River. He sends spies, and the king of Arad the Canaanite finds out that Israel sent spies, and he fights against the Israelites and took some of the Israelites prisoners. The Israelites fight back and destroy the cities of Arad the Canaanite king. They named the place Hormah. So the Israelites left Egypt, traversed and went around the land of Edom, following the path of the Nile River, trying to get to the land of Canaan. Then the Israelites run into another Canaanite tribe, the Amorites, and their territory in the same chapter, Numbers 21:25. In the same chapter, Numbers 21:25, it says that Moses made a bronze serpent and put it on a pole, and so it was. And if any serpent had bitten anyone in the Israelite camp, and they looked upon the bronze serpent, he lived. Bronze is an alloy of copper and tin. The Hebrew word for bronze is Nekusha or Nekusheth. Israel, or the current land of Israel today, even the land known as Edom, has no tin mines. The Jews try to solve this dilemma by saying Moses and the Israelites got their tin from Europe. But remember, Moses did not have logistics. He didn't have ships. He didn't have trucks. He didn't have Amazon. So how did he get the tin to make the bronze serpent when there's no tin in modern day Israel? This is proof because the Jews did their own study saying, we don't know where the tin came from
to get bronze in ancient Israel because there are no 10 mines in Israel. Oh, the Jews got the 10 from England. So I guess that Moses and the Israelites, they called and got a shipment of 10 shipped to Israel to make anything that had to do with bronze. Makes no sense. Despite being a land of well-watered, deep lakes, rivers, streams, springs, torrents, all these rivers in so-called land of Canaan, we see that in modern-day Israel, that's not the case. We know that along the banks of the Nile River, you see all these reeds growing. So the Red Sea is not the real Red Sea, which connects to the Gulf of Aqaba to the tip of Esau's dominion, but it's the Nile River. The Nile River is the river of reeds, or Yawasap. So after crossing the Nile River in Egypt or Sudan with Moses and the Israelites, then they continue to follow the pathway of the Nile. This is the Numbers chapter 21:4, going towards Ethiopia. This is what we believe today is the land of Edom. Notice the Red Sea also extends into the Gulf of Aqaba, right here. This is the Gulf of Aqaba. No reeds growing on the banks of the Gulf of Aqaba, nowhere. Nowhere. There are no papyrus reeds growing here. Never has been, never will be. Why? Wake up. But here's the Nile River. Look at all these papyrus reeds growing from Egypt all the way to Uganda and Lake Victoria. Papyrus reeds are all over the place, flowing down the banks for miles. The Bantu people call Moses the son or the king of the reeds. Why? Because Moses was put in a reed basket that they got from the Nile River. The word suf is reeds in Hebrew. Numbers 21:4 says that the Israelites journeyed with Moses south, leaving Egypt, and they crossed the Nile, the Red Sea, the river of reeds, and then they continued by the pathway of the Red Sea or the Nile River to compass, meaning to go around the land of Edom, because Edom didn't let them through. They had to go around the land of Edom. So how would they go around the land of Edom? Following the pathway of the Nile River or the river of reeds. Genesis 36 shows that the African Black Hamitic Canaanite women in the land of Canaan had children with the Edomites, just as the Israelites had children with the Canaanites in Judges chapter 3 and Ezra chapter 9. But the Israelites are Black, not white. Remember, the first wives of Esau was Canaanites. The first wives of the Israelites were also Canaanites. Look at Judah and his first wife. However, the Israelites are Black, but the Edomites are white. Where are the white Israelites? If we mix with the same people in the beginning of the Bible and Esau so-called white. The African pygmies' maternal DNA on the mother's side is L0A, L1C, L2A. It is seen in Central, West, East, and South Africa. Even American Negroes have this maternal DNA. Do anybody in Africa that are the descendants of the Canaanites and their father is Esau, do they have this maternal DNA, L0A, L1C, L2A? No. Do anybody white in Europe, in Western Europe, in Russia, in the Caucasus Mountain have the maternal DNA of the Canaanites, L0A, L1C, L2A? The answer is no. When the Israelites first entered the land of Canaan, before they even had a king during the time of the Judges, they intermarried with the Canaanites just as Jacob's sons did and the Edomites did. Esau took wives in Canaan and bore children in Canaan, in Africa, the land of Ham. Adah, he bore Eliphaz, Black. Aholibamah bore Jerush, Black, and Jalam, Black, and Korah, Black. Basemath, the descendant of Ishmael's daughter. Ishmael was the product of Abraham, and Hagar, the Black Egyptian, bore Ruel. These are Black people. So Esau's first children were born to Black women, Black Arab Ishmaelites, Black Canaanites. How could they be the progenitor of white people? Eliphaz is reported to have sons, Timon, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, and Genaz. Eliphaz had a Horite concubine, Timnah, who bore Eliphaz Amalek. But according to the book of Joshua, the Horites were Canaanites. Canaanites are Hamites. The land of Ham is Africa. According to Genesis 36:16, Eliphaz only had children born in the land of Edom. That was Korah, Gatam, and Amalek. Remember, the book of Joshua says that the children of Seir were Canaanites, and Esau had his first children from the Canaanites, and it made Isaac mad. So Timon, Omar, Zepho, and Genaz had to be born in the land of Canaan, where Jacob and Esau was living before Esau left. Let's keep going. The Israelites Okay, let me move this out the way. The Israelites claim Esau is progenitor of the white race. Miriam Dictionary says progenitor means an ancestor in the direct line of the forefather. So they say that Esau is the forefather of all white people. So the white Neanderthals and white Homo sapiens exist before Esau was born? Of course they did. You best believe that if we have the maternal Neanderthal DNA X today seen in Europeans and Asians, we definitely have people walking around that have the paternal Y DNA of the Neanderthal man, even though the Gentiles don't want to assign that to anybody. The Neanderthal had children. The Neanderthal was able to procreate with the Neanderthal woman and modern day Homo sapien women. And they had children. This is why we even had the Neanderthal DNA X. Neanderthal was a white man. He was white and he was a man. He walked on two legs, so he was a white man. He was before Esau. Esau is not the progenitor of the white man. So easy to understand this. Use critical thinking. What's the name? The Neanderthal is a male. How do we know he's a male or a man? Because he cannot get pregnant. A biological male cannot get pregnant. A biological male can impregnate women. A biological human male walks on both feet. He's bipedal. He was not an animal. He's not a gorilla. The Neanderthal man, like it says, he is a man and he is white, not black. We can have a debate right now if you want to, but let's keep going. Did the Edomites become the white race and the white man by subjugating or subduing another nation or moving to another part of the world in Northern Europe or Eastern Western Europe and mixing with them? Just because the land became full with them, does that mean that he just erased on a whole lineage of Japhet? And now where are the children of Japhet today if they're black? But what are the
10 minutes left.
How many minutes?
10 minutes left.
Okay. What if these nations the Edomites encountered were already white before Esau was born? When another nation subdues another nation of people or even migrates to another country, does not completely replace them. Africans and Arabs are migrating from Africa and the Middle East to Europe, but they did not replace white people. Before Esau was born, the children of Japhet lived and had civilizations in the northern part of the earth. When Noah came off the boat with Japhet, he started having children. His children had to be of color. Were they black people like Africans? No, and we're going to prove that. So the Minoan civilization was a Bronze Age civilization flourishing on the Greek island of Crete from roughly 3,500 BC to 1,100 BC. This is a picture of the Minoans right here, a white lady. This is a real picture. 3,500 BC predates the birth of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Esau. So who is this? This is a Minoan woman from the Bronze Age civilization living in the Aegean Sea area of the Greek island of Crete, and this predates Esau. What script did they use? Linear A script is an undeciphered syllabic script used by the Minoan civilization on Crete between approximately 1850 BC and 1450 BC for religious and administrative purposes. The height of the next civilization, the Mycenaean civilization, existed from 1650 BC to 1350 BC. Linear B script was their script, written on plate tablets, represents the early form of the Greek language used by the Mycenaeans from 1400 BC to 1100 BC. The Mycenaean people, this is a fresco of the Mycenaean people right here in a museum in Athens, Greece. It dates back to 1200 BC, predates King David, King Solomon, even Hadad the Edomites and the Herodians in their time when they were living in the land of the Greek, well, they were around the Greeks and Romans back in 2,000 years ago. So these people predate the Idumeans, predate Hadad the Edomite. And as you can see, they're white. White pottery, white paintings, white skulls, or white alabaster skulls right here. Linear B script, they had a script, so obviously they had a civilization. The Etruscans, here we go right here, they have tombs where they were buried at. Tombs, like the Egyptians. This painting on the wall in the tomb is 900 BC. 900 BC. They were separate white people from the Romans. Why did they paint inside their tombs where they died at and were buried at white people? I mean, come on, guys. If the Edomites are these people, then when did they come and replace the whole ethnic group? Did the men of Esau kill all the Etruscan men and impregnate all the Etruscan women, thus replacing the white Edomite seed, causing them to turn into white men and women? Or were they clearly already white, meaning the Etruscans? Is this anywhere in the Old Testament that Esau replaced the Greeks and the Romans in any other white civilizations? No. Is it in the book of Joshua? Jubilees? No, it's not there. The book of Joshua, since the Hebrew Israelites like to use that, it mentions European cities and names like Lombardy and Italia from centuries after the Bible era. How can you have the name Italia when the Italia name is not even a Hebrew Egyptian name? Further confirming that the book of Joshua is a non-ancient origin. It's a 6th century work written by the Gentiles, just as much of what Yawasap been quoting is from the books of Greeks and Romans. It has a lot of anachronisms, meaning that it cites French cities, European names from periods that are way past the biblical era. It has stuff that is seen in the Midrash, which is the Jewish books. The New Testament, Herodians lived around 1st century AD, almost 1,000 years after the existence of other known white civilization. We already talked about Seir the Horite being a Canaanite port in the book of Joshua. But when you look at the Bible, if the Israelites stand by Joshua or not, Esau in the Old Testament time span, if you look at the Old Testament in the time span from the beginning of creation, say 6,000 BC to 500 BC in the Old Testament, Esau in the Bible, in the Old Testament, only mixed his seed with melanated Shemites, meaning Ishmaelites, and melanated Hamites from Africa, Canaanites and Egyptians with Hadad the Edomite. We know the Canaanites were black, Egyptians were black. Hadad the Edomite had a son named Jenubbab. Where are the black Edomites? He cannot be the progenitor of black races and white races if they're saying that he is the progenitor of the white race and that all Edomites are white people. So we have Somalians that are descendants of the Egyptians, they're black. We have the Tuaregs, descendants of Puthites, they're black. We have Cushites in South Sudan, like the Dinka, they're black. But what color was Canaan? Canaan had to be a black person too, because he was brothers to his other black brothers, the sons of Ham. The Y DNA of the Canaanites and the maternal DNA of the Canaanites is not seen in any white person today. Hello. So that means that if Esau's first children were with Canaanite women, then where is the maternal DNA of black African Canaanite women? Where is the maternal DNA L1, L2, L3, L4, L5, L6? Where's it at in white people's day? It's not there because Esau is not the progenitor of all white people. White people come from mostly Japhet. The tomb of the funeral couch of the Etruscan civilization 480 BC, this is a tomb. White people on the inside. Etruscans, are they Japhet? If so, why are they not black like he says? Why are they not black if the Etruscans are inside their tombs are white people? Here goes some more, the battle scene of the Etruscans in the Francois tomb, central Italy, 380 BC. Looks like white people to me. The Etruscan civilization began around the 19th century BC, and they had a culture. This is another tomb, a white guy, 900 BC. The first Greek author to mention the Etruscans, whom the ancient Greeks called the Tyrrhenians, was the 8th century BC poet Hesiod in his work, the Theogony. He mentioned them as residing in central Italy alongside the Romans. So these guys were living alongside the Romans, but were called a different name by the Romans because the Romans called them the Etruria. They were not called Romans, they were called a different name. So they're a different ethnic group that were white. It means they were a separate white race of people outside of the so-called black Greeks and Romans that Yawasap says they were the sons of Japhet and they were black. So are there white Edomites who are not Edomites? Yes, because this would contradict the Israelites' argument. Are the children of Japhet black nations? We're going to see about that. We know that Ezekiel 38 says that the 5 to 6 sons of Japhet are going to come to the land of Canaan in the last days to spoil, steal, plunder, and loot the land of Israel and prey upon the children of Israel, meaning that the children of Israel become a prey to the children of Magog, Meshach, Gomer, Tubal, Paras, and Togarmah. This is in the Bible. Ezekiel 38, plunder means to steal, to plunder a land, or take by craft or coercion, trickery, or cleverness, not by direct force, but it can be basically, I'm going to outsmart you to get your land, to get your goods, to get your livestock, to put you under oppression. I'm going to do that with political agreements, financial agreements, military agreements. I'm going to destabilize your country so that I can now get an agreement to have full access to all the minerals of the land of Canaan, silver and gold, which is in Ezekiel 38. Just read it. Subjugation means bringing someone under your control or dominance. Doesn't mean you're going to replace a whole nation. If they want to use the book of Joshua and say Jephthah,
1 minute left.
The Romans are Edomites, we have to use our brain. And Zepho, in the book of Yasher, he basically subdues only the children of Kittim. He is one man. He helps the people of that land to subdue the children of Kittim and subdue Tubal. It doesn't say Zepho and 1 million Israelites came, or 1 million Edomites came to Rome and helped subdue the children of Kittim and the children of Tubal. So we're going to continue to expose this lie that the children of Esau and Romans and Greeks are Edomites. The oldest written name of the word Africa is found in Roman text from 100 BC. But the word Africa is in the book of Joshua. So when we look at Edom and Greece, we're going to have to figure out, did Kittim conquer Edom? Did Edom conquer Kittim? Yes, both did. But does that mean that the children of Kittim, when they conquered Esau?
Time.
Yo, listen, I'm making this flyer for 1:30 today. Garfield, I'm an Israelite, prove me wrong. But I don't know why they named it that. I just need to be convinced that you guys are Israelites.
Okay, where's gonna be at? Because people was
I'm gonna put it on here.
Okay. Y'all heard it's gonna be right here at 1:30. So Garfield's gonna go against whoever want to smoke.
Yeah, you know who ain't gonna show up and come on stage. We already know who those people are.
The scaredy cat, the cowards.
Yep.
Just line them up.
Yep. Let me say this about what he just presented. I'm actually shocked. He actually won the first round. You wouldn't think I think Ron Dalton won the first round. He made a lot more sense, although it was actually nonsense. But he made a better argument.
Yo, True Story could come up here anytime. He could get this smoke. Anytime, anywhere, any place.
I got a question. Why can't we just teach where white people really come from? It seems like we just love the mythology and shit. It's just everybody just going down to the mythology. I understand that it ain't like their origins ain't as sexy as we want to put it in these books and like the Yaku myth and all that. But why don't we just actually just teach where white people come from? Because there really is nothing that's crazy.
You know what? I think it comes from the education. Like black people didn't know their history. They was given white people history. So
right.
It's like a brainwashing thing that we have to get out of.
But this is also still part of it because we only care about this stuff because white people care about it. That's the whole thing with Egypt too. If they was interested in like West Africa and Yoruba stuff and Igbo stuff, we would be on that, but we're not. We're on Egypt because the white man cares about Egypt. And that the white man includes Egypt as a source of his civilization. That's one of the sources of his civilization.
But
so that's why we all over Egypt.
Yeah, but European been claiming stuff for the longest, and black people was nothing. They couldn't create anything.
Right.
They dumb. So
right, and that's why you. Oh, my bad. Go ahead, Sister Mika.
Go ahead.
No, but yeah, but like the thing is that when we find out where we come from, is like a lot of our ancestors is kind of separated from that whole European, Asian, and Mediterranean world as. Not as much because we still got stuff that came from those places, but like we were kind of like almost on our own, but that doesn't sound as good. So we have to be somebody else, somebody that the European bigs up. Even in the Americas, he bigs up the Mayans and the Aztecs and the Inca. So some of us out there saying that we those people too. So anybody that academia bigs up in the West, we always got to try to be that people. But we never want to be from the kingdoms and the and the cultures that are in West and Central Africa because they're not as sexy as Egypt or Greece or Rome and all that other crap. Or they don't get bigged up as much.
Yeah, what kills me is people be saying their people. Like how you even come to that conclusion? What's your people?
Your people,
what's your people? How are they your people? Like everybody
you
can't
know,
be people. I'm not understanding that.
right? You don't speak their languages and everything like that. I guess they bored with the African American label,
People
which is
gotta
crazy.
people gotta wake up and ask the question. Ask the question. Figure it out. They don't make no come on.
Like people just gotta be real with themselves. Like me personally, I'm an African American of Caribbean heritage. That's what I say. I have Caribbean heritage, but I'm an African American because I ain't never been to the Caribbean. All my experiences of me living in this world has always been in the United States, in the eastern part of the United States. So, like, you can't, like, you gotta meet people where they at. They just can't be. I don't know. We just want a nice, cool mythological history for ourselves. We want an origin myth because America don't really got a great origin myth. We don't got a mythology. I mean, like when you come to the Chinese, they descended from gods. You go to the Japanese, they descended from gods. You go to like the Romans and all that, they descended from gods. We need an origin myth, and all our little subgroups come up with their own little origin myth to make us feel special, make ourselves feel special. That's what it is.
Yeah, you said meet people where they at, but how do you get them to understand what you're trying to say? Like it's like a battle. Like when you
Listen. This lady last night said that the Israelites are from South Africa. How do you convince somebody
exactly what I was saying.
who is teaching that for the last 10 years? Who believe what they're saying is true.
It's
Even when their friends are telling them. I see my Jamaican dude, the one I was arguing with what's his name? What's the idiot? What's the Hebrew is that guy name again, man? The one that's in Africa now. My name, Mighty Hebrew.
Oh,
That conversation I had, the dude that was there knows her. He stopped messing with her because she does crazy.
I don't know who you talking about. Her, who the her?
A lady by the name of Sage.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, that lady. I know who you're talking about. People don't want to let go of the Bible.
You could all the sources. You could show them all the information, and it's like, yeah, I see it, but I don't believe it. Like
It's a religion. At this point, it's a religion. I mean, it's a religion. It's faith. It's just like, wait, somebody asked one of these Hebrew, I think it was El Diara. It's like, how do you know that your great great grandfather wasn't a white man? He said, I'm just going to have faith. I'm paraphrasing. He's just going to have faith that he was not a white man, but a Hebrew from Africa. He's just going to have faith. So at that point, it's over. You ain't going to convince him of nothing. It's how they roll.
I know I got Europeans mixed
So
up.
A lot of us do.
Yeah.
So I'm realizing that this whole thing has become a game. It's not even a lot of them. When you actually pin them down, they don't actually believe it. It's something to try to help them build an identity, and because they have gotten so embedded in it, they don't want to let it go.
If they're going to do that, why don't they just do what the Mormons did? But I don't know if you can do what the Mormons did today, because if like they seem to be the most successful cult in history.
How that flyer look?
Okay, is that supposed to be you?
That look crazy.
It don't even look like you, bro.
I don't care. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn how it look, bro.
No, he's got hair on his head, and that's supposed to be Captain in the front right there with the thing on his head.
Yo,
what's up with the spaceship, man? That's even wild.
Yeah, what the spaceship for?
That's the wheel.
The wheel?
That's the wheel.
Oh, in Isaiah, that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, the wheel in Isaiah. See how we act like y'all don't know. The Bible, you be fronting, James. You be fronting.
It's supposed to be have a whole bunch of eyes on it.
That's the mothership, baby.
Mothership connection.
Yeah, true story. I know how to do it. The flyer. How y'all be doing the flyer though? Yeah, it's crazy. Oh, Isaac 43. Now I know who you are.
Isaac, he had come on the panel one time.
Yeah, he don't want to be I don't know, Hebrew or Jew or something.
No, he's a Christian. He's a true
Oh,
Christian.
he's a Christian, but he was playing like he was a Jew or something, and a Jew came up and talked to him, and he didn't know what the hell he was
He
talking.
tried to violate my man. That's my man. Yeah, he good.
Yo, you will get busted when you come on a panel.
Yo, Garfield and Mika, you know what's funny? The funniest thing I've heard people try to do is explain the golem spell that created that Eve and Adam were. That shit is, they've actually tried to explain the golem spell.
What are you talking about?
Adam and Eve were golems.
I don't know what that is.
What?
A golem. You don't know what a golem is?
No.
A golem is a creature made from dirt, a clay figure. Like
the Golem of Prague. That story where a rabbi was Rove or something like that. He created a golem to protect the Jewish residents of Prague. He wrote like some words on like a slip and put it in his mouth, and it came to life. That's what they think Adam and Eve is.
They don't understand it's a story. Like, come on.
And it's a medieval story. That's the other thing.
They said that it's like a bedtime story. Like after a while, you have to grow out of the story, and it wasn't for you to stay in the book. It was like a story, and then you grow out of that. But
these niggas stayed in the bedtime story, Mika. Grown ass men taking bedtime stories literally.
Right.
Huh?
They just wanted, when people ask questions, they just wanted to give you a book so you could have something or hope or belief or whatever the case may be. But after a while, you're supposed to grow out of it. So if you still stuck in that book, I don't know what to tell you. I feel sorry for you, son.
You know what it is? The abstract has become the main part of thinking of their brain that they use when they do thinking. So the critical thinking was underdeveloped. They can think critically
and mad,
but using it at the right times and appropriately is where the abstract takes over, because that's where they were groomed in the abstract thinking.
Yeah, but you scared to hit the panel.
Right. Scared to hit the panel.
Crap on the panel.
Talk all that shit sitting in the chat, but won't hit the link. Atheist garbage. Half of them don't even know what an atheist is. And you know what? Half of them don't even know what a syllogism is. Can one of y'all, can one of you Israelites in the chat give me a syllogism on why we are Israelites? A major premise, minor premise, and a conclusion, with the minor premise and major premise in the conclusion. I need a syllogism.
There's gonna be a lot of people gonna be mad after Garfield beat them up. 1:30, be there. There's gonna be at least 1,000 people mad at Garfield. Man, how Garfield, how does it feel to be the most hated person right now?
Hey, I gotta play a video real quick, right? Real quick. Check this out. Hold on 1 second. This is 2819 Church versus IUIC. And I'm gonna break down what I think is the real problem in a minute. Look at this right here.
And America and the nations of the world, we're gonna make the arena a portal. A spiritual tunnel from earth to heaven. And in that portal, thousands of us will travel in that portal with our prayers into the throne room.
Yo, look at these young people, yo. Listen, I'm going to say this. I'm not a Christian, but I'm going to tell you something. The church is back. And I'm going to tell you why in a minute.
And we will lay things at the feet of the Savior in that throne room. And we will put a demand on him to come down and respond to the cries of your children. Listen to me. State Farm will be 2819's secret place.
Yesterday, the State Farm Arena was packed. Now, Pastor Philip Anthony Mitchell was only expecting 20,000 people. But because more showed up from the north, the south, the east, and the west, they were coming from all over. People had flown in for 2 days, got hotel rooms just to be able to come out and pray. Pastor Philip Anthony Mitchell's team had to go and open up an overflow room. It still wasn't enough seats. There were people still praying and praising God on the outside of the State Farm Arena.
You say be still, and the waves obey your voice. I will not fear.
God was in the midst, but we already know what happens when people are praising God's name. The enemy gets mad and he wants to shake things up.
The Black Israelites are protesting in front, and so we're just going to try to show them some love, but they're coming now right in front of us. Just for your knowledge, the Black Israelites oppose 2819 Church and resist the gospel of Jesus.
Jesus. Waste all your time you want. Ain't afraid of you, ain't thinking about you. I'm preparing the army for the coming of the Lord Jesus Christ.
Out of all of the churches that the Black Hebrew Israelites drove past to get to the State Farm Arena, they couldn't stop at any of those places. They had to go messing with these people at 2819 while they were trying to worship God and pray. The people were ready for them because they knew, don't get into it with these men. We're going to scream the name Jesus because we already know.
Something about the name Jesus. Something about that name. Something about
that the Holy Ghost is really in control. The Holy God will have his way today. Listen, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Listen, we won't be moved. We won't be moved. God bless them. God bless them. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. We won't be moved. We won't be moved. We won't be moved. This is a false doctrine. These guys have false doctrine. This is not the right doctrine. They got this wrong. Black Israelites and black people are not the only one going to heaven. Listen, my white brothers and sisters, you're also going to heaven. Literally, spiritual warfare going on right now. Jesus Christ is Lord. Jesus Christ is Lord. Jesus! 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 Jesus!
Every time I watch these videos, I get so excited, even to the point where I want to cry, because God is amazing. All of the young people who are ready for their souls to be saved. It is just amazing how so many people showed up at the State Farm Arena. And I know that everybody didn't show up for the right reasons, but for those who did, that's what I want to focus on. There were people that needed healing because people are tired of being in darkness.
God changed your life. I was just a vessel.
We all know that the devil comes to steal.
So yeah, they mad, but they actually are smart by going into the Hebrew Israelites are smart because one, that guy has over 1.4 million followers on Instagram, and now you knew he was going to bring a crowd there, so you went there to convert Christians who believe in the same book as you do, but you have a doctrinal issue. The doctrinal issue is, and let me just read this statistic by Josh Hart, by the way. It talks about 41.6% since 2002. Annual U.S. Bible sales gone up 41 point. That's crazy. Religion and spirituality app download 79.5%. I thought Christianity was dying in America. Uh-oh. Bad news for the Israelites. Bad news. Bad news for y'all. But this is what they're beefing about. Let me tell you what they're beefing about. I'm going to show you what they're beefing about. Let me go to these scriptures real quick. Hold on, Cedric. 1 John 2, verse 2, Bible Hub. This is what they're beefing about. I'm going to show you, and y'all going to be laughing in a minute. This is what they're beefing about. The issue is this. Black Hebrew Israelites believe that they are the ones that control this religion. It's so coincidentally they got it from the slave master. But hey, they think it's from them. It's their book. Bear in mind, the Hebrew Israelites teach that at 70 AD, what happened 70 AD, Mika? They left from the area and vamoosed into Africa, then ended up in West Africa, ended up on the transatlantic slave trade. Right? Now watch this. Hey, and by the way, you notice when they tell that story, they clip the trans-Saharan slave trade. They forgot that Africans were trading Africans in the trans-Saharan slave trade. Over 20 million Africans, men and women. That's why in Yemen today, they have a certain genetic markers that we have in West and Central Africa is in Yemen today, especially in the women and men who they brought there as slaves, their descendants. But anyway, watch this now. This is what they're beefing about. They don't think white people should be saved. As stupid as it sounds, this is what they're arguing about. They saying that the black man, the Christians, are trying to save white people. This is their beef. This is their beef. So this is the scripture that actually kills their doctrine. 1 John 2 verses 2. He himself, referring to Jesus, the atoning sacrifice for our sins, referring to the Israelites, and not only for ours, but also for the sins of the whole world. So when I was talking to IUIC, I brought this up. The dude is trying to say the world don't mean the whole world. Cosmo. It means the entire humanity. That's what it means. But check this out. Ours is a possessive pronoun. So I have to break that down. See? I, the first person pronoun. Then ours again, they're still talking about themselves. But it says, but also for the sins of the whole world. Why would you be mad if you have a belief and you say, yeah, Jesus saved you, I'm come for you, I only come for the house of Israel. He's now saying sacrificing for the entire world. Why are you mad? None of it's gonna come true either way. None of it's gonna happen. Just to say it's a fight. But this is their argument. Now, if they don't like that verse, here's another verse. John 1:29. The next day, John saw Jesus coming toward him and said, look, The Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world. Oh, the world don't mean world. It don't mean world. It only mean the Israelite world. That's what they say. This is what the argument is about. Saving salvation for all. Can every human being be saved through Jesus Christ? Or he's only here for the Israelites? Black people made up a religion in here in 1969 and trying to tell people in the last 50 years that it's about them and not about anybody else. That's what the beef is about. Craziness. Go ahead, Cedric.
Peace, family. I there sitting listening from the time the show started, the whole time I'm watching. And that last little piece there, it just hit Comedy Central for me. I mean, when you understand, and again, I appreciate what you do, but unfortunately, you are having a college level discussion a la Joshua Bowen, a la Richard Carrier, and we're dealing with Sunday school folk, right? I was preparing for a debate, but the dude ran because in the back chats, they're claiming the Exodus is real. So I simply asked, what evidence do you have? And they keep pushing and pushing. I say, okay, let's debate the archaeological evidence for the biblical story of the Exodus. So I engage in doing the research necessary just to solidify. And when you actually do the research, when you dig into it, you get a better appreciation for the textual or the the art of writing stories. You get an appreciation for the art of writing stories. You read these narratives and you can actually superimpose them on thousands of movies that we've watched. Thousands. You can superimpose that whole concept. So the structure in which we tell stories today is that old, but it is storytelling. That's all it is. We here today going through textual criticism, doing listen, archaeology in the Near East started because these people were trying to confirm the Bible. It became a scientific discipline, and lo and behold, more confirmation that there's no way that a dude can give birth to a woman, subsequently have sex with this woman, and lead to Noah and Japheth. Like the ludicrousy with which we are having these discussions, as if any aspect of these things are actually real. They are foundational myths trying to solidify a people that broke off from the rest of the people around them. That's it. And those people aren't us. Those are Near Eastern people. We are West Central Africans. Somebody proposed a challenge to Zariak. Do your DNA, bro. Do your DNA.
He already did, and he already said he did, and he did.
He ain't gonna do it.
He already did.
But he ain't gonna show it.
He could if he want, but he already.
Who did the DNA?
Cesaria.
Yeah, I know. I saw it.
Oh, you saw it?
And you're wholesale African.
I can't talk about it. That's my brother. And
I seen it too. So I mean, it's up to him.
I gave him my word, and I'm not going. You know, what I'm saying?
He's 65%.
We know, Cedric. We know what it is. People don't look at it.
He's 67.2% African, and the rest of that is European.
I think he actually sent the screenshot it to me. Yes.
And listen. I know geneticists.
We don't have to announce it, but we know what it is before he even took a test.
I know geneticists, but I could tell you
Does he take a walk around?
He's 68.9% West Central African, and the rest is European.
Yawasap took a test too. The guy that was on the debate with Ron Dalton. He's indigenous to Puerto Rico. He's indigenous.
Oh, he indigenous? Yeah.
Cesaria.
That's a whole nother ball game.
Yawasap.
Not Cesaria. Yawasap. I think he said he was Q. Either Q or C.
Oh, see, and that's the confusing thing about One West. Because like when they talking about like people over there in Puerto Rico and stuff being Hebrews, is it the indigenous people? Is it the Spaniards or is it the Africans that are over there? And they never bring that up. I asked that to what's his name, General Yohana. He couldn't answer that question.
That shit is dumb, yo. But hey, it is what it is.
Listen, this stuff is hilarious. I mean, and the more you sit and look at it, that a group of people could get so entrenched in fiction that they actually assume the identity of biblical characters. That is crazy. Like we have these discussions without slowing the conversation down and actually addressing the ludicrousness of this whole idea. And yes, I've been an atheist since I 14. My whole family religious. No, no, my father is cultural Christian, and so is my brothers. I have a sister that is staunch religious, and from a kid, no, this makes no sense. Y'all like, how make this make sense?
Yeah.
It never did. And we got grown people here standing up on the side of the street in sheets. Now you got Atlanta, the dude standing up with Jesus. And that dude who claiming Jesus actually think this dude walking around without a Y chromosome. We in 2025. Listen, at some point, we need to just get out the book and actually start to make these people understand how ridiculous they look.
Cedric, how are you gonna make people
You tar and feather them. We stop taking them serious. We stop engaging with them as if this is anything other than what it is.
Well, if you stop engaging with them, they
No.
not
Stop engaging with them as if this is anything real. And what am I trying to debunk going in and doing bad? No, what is snake there? What a donkey said? Tell me again. Repeat. Go ahead. Tell me what the donkey said. You know donkeys don't talk, right? How are you 11? How show me? Like you was on a boat. How you do that? I'm not engaging with these conversations of it as if any of this is real. I'm gonna tar and feather you and clown you. I'm done. Yeah, what is? How are we supposed to take any of this serious? What aspect of it?
I think you got to break it down to them that what they believe in, like the God and whatnot, is not really a real God. What they talking about?
I don't have a problem with them believing in a God. We know about the believing mind. We've been talking about it for years.
But
The
other
issue
than
is the issue. This is the issue. The issue, centralized issue, is a way that it's a psychological program. Because if you look at all the religions that have a God, the issue is not the God. The issue is within the concepts of the God. All of them, pretty much, the main ones that everybody gravitates to has to do with a Messiah or somebody returning to execute a judgment. And if you believe that the white man is the devil and believe that Edom is the white man and that God is coming back to cast judgment on these white men for being wicked to you for the last 25 or 3,000 years, that is absolutely ridiculous. So you're telling me in the last 3,000 years.
Hold on.
Hold on, Samuel. You're telling me that nobody in the last 3,000 years practiced the laws, the statutes, and commandments and got any blessings at all? Nobody? So you're waiting all this time, let's say 2,500 years, for God to execute judgment for something that was written in a book. That's crazy.
Humans exist 350,000 years. God waited 2,000 years after we exist for 349,000 years. God decided to show up, and He actually teach us nothing. So we still have to figure out evolution on our own. We still fighting diseases on our own. God ain't give us nothing we could have used. Nothing we could have actually used. Fables, fiction, and nonsense, but nothing that actually helped humanity move forward. It took human ingenuity, the development of science, to actually help us be here today. We almost went extinct twice, but God did what? Like make it make sense. Why It's only us that have a God, that have a chosen people from the Levant. This God clearly says, yo, I rocking with these group of people. Now, that would tell me that these people created a God to serve them, as all cultures do. Why do we here in the West assume that the tool used to enslave us, the tool used to decide that we were inferior, is now the thing we gonna hold on to? Make it make sense. That's the only conversation we should be having with these people. Wait a minute, slow down. You are gonna acknowledge to me, Nat Turner. I know you're gonna do it. At the same time, you don't acknowledge the reason Nat Turner was forced to pick up that document. What alternative did he have, and why did he need to free himself? Based on what? That's like, what else we talking about? Dissecting fairy tales, man. Finkelstein on YouTube. Go listen. Let's have a real heart-to-heart conversation, bro. Y'all always start this conversation from a particular paradigm, and as if it just fall into play. Now turn to the black church. Wait a minute. Why was the black church even a necessity, bro? Y'all forget we were enslaved?
It's crazy.
This is wild. I sit on the whole morning listening, and I really appreciate the stuff. And then that last clip just sent me over there. It's like everything Garfield is doing, teaching and educating. Look on the other side here. Pure nonsense. Jesus. And the other group outside saying, no. We, not everybody else. Only we get to play with the ball. He's our God, and he doesn't want to do with you, only us. But the book ain't talking about you. Man, look, these people are Canaanites that segregated themselves from Canaanites. They don't even want to be a part of the people that they come from. Now you think all of a sudden they are you. Make it make sense, bro. Like that.
Crazy,
The
man.
ludicrousy, Ragaf. When you actually read, like, these people were amongst their own people and created a whole story to carve themselves out from their own people. How do you think this fits a West Central African? These people were racist from their own people. Well, I won't use racist, but they were xenophobic amongst their own people.
They just felt like they can just have it all. That's what it is.
Yeah, the hell with the rest of y'all. We gonna take over. We gonna do. We ain't doing this no more. We ain't doing that no more. We different. We create a whole story. We won't hear all the time. We just got here. As a matter of fact, we just got here. We ain't know nothing about y'all. No archaeological evidence to support this. A continuity in the development. No distinction in building structure. No distinction in gods. No distinction.
See, and that's why I call that book. All right, go ahead.
All I was gonna say, and then until boom, here they are, Iron Age. Here they are, the Israelites just pop up on the scene. Bro, y'all need to stop. Go ahead.
That's why I call that book schizophrenic, because like you can read it so many different ways and get different results. Like you can use it to bring all people together, or you can use it to segregate from people. That's why you got Christian identity, which is a white nationalist version of basically what the Hebrew Israelites are. Because they say that they are the Israelites and everything like that. And then everybody else is like Edom or whatever like that, however they do it. But this has always been going on. People have been using it to segregate themselves from other people, and people have been using it to convert other groups of people, regardless of whatever culture or religion or whatever they came from. So the book is schizophrenic. It's telling many different stories, all compiled into one book that they all tell themselves that is one complete thing when it's not.
And you're absolutely right about the schizophrenia, because this book is telling me that my God wants to save the whole world. And for my God to save the whole world, the best thing for me to do is oppress you. Like how? Like the book is schizophrenic. So I'm gonna beat you for your own good. I'm gonna oppress you. I'm gonna deny your culture. I'm gonna destroy your identity. I'm gonna label your practices evil. I'm gonna label your connection to your environment as barbaric because God loves you.
Makes no sense.
Y'all seen that? Y'all seen that video of that white preacher where he say African American can join his church, but he cannot bring black culture into it because black culture is inherently demonic and
Yep.
satanic. Yep,
Yep.
that crazy thing. And I was like, that's a true Christian right there. That's
Yeah.
exactly what the Jesuits were. That's exactly what the slave master was. That's exactly what they were.
And white Christian nationalists, they are determined to put Negroes back in chains. I be on YouTube and it's some wild conversations happening. All of a sudden, slavery is being condoned and it wasn't that bad. We got idiots like Jesse Lee Peterson narrating that stuff and he's black. Somebody should
They
tell
changed
cut that dude.
of what they did. That's what they trying to do. Change the history and make it wasn't that bad. We was kind to them. We was nice to them.
Listen, you see what's going on in Chicago? I bet you if they were back on the plantation, they would have much better than they would have a decent job, they would have something to eat, somewhere to sleep, and will have no violence.
Teach your kids the real history. Don't let them try to fool. But next thing you know, our children are gonna be saying something different.
Hey, it's already happening. How many black conservatives are echoing the sentiments of these idiots? You got black people using terms like black fatigue. Listen, you don't hear white people saying they have trailer trash fatigue. They just accept that as an aspect of white culture, but they're not responsible in totality for that. What we represent in this community, we're not responsible for that type of behavior. But that doesn't make all of us that. And I wouldn't sit up here and try to agree with painting us all like that. The Stephen Crowder's nonsense in those barbershop conversations. I wish that dude could come and try and have a conversation like that with me. I'll destroy that fool. Idiots narrating that stuff as if it makes them feel, I'm not part of those black people. It's something I experienced in Europe. I would be sitting amongst white Dutch people, and because I master the language and I assimilate to the culture, I would be sitting amongst them. They would try and disparage black people and then turn and tell me, but you're not like them. And me
you will be the
standing on
pet.
me standing on my square, I would always reply the same way. Last time I looked in the mirror, I was just like them. If I was outside, you would be talking about me because I just like them. Don't make that distinction. You're not going to put the feather up in my ass. That's a Dutch statement. And so they tickle your ass with the feather, have you laughing. I see too many of these type of Negroes now in these YouTube streets because of their belief. So they're sucking up to white Christian nationalists. And as we saw in the leaked text messages, what their true intent is. Get out of here. I don't want to hear none of that nonsense.
A lot of them are hypocrites, especially that Jesse Lee Peterson. Like they're just, it's a show. But at the end of the day, you got to really wonder how much do they even believe in their own stuff. Because at the end of the day, I think it's really just for a bag. I don't think Jesse Lee Peterson even believe in half of the stuff that he says. It gets the views, it gets the clicks, he makes his revenue, and then he goes home and he does whatever he does.
But other people believe that.
Yeah, he's pandering. He's pandering to the people that believe it, right? And he's just a coon. There's no other way about it. This black man can sit up there while doing a show, complaining about black people not being capable of doing anything. Bro, did you look in the mirror lately? So how do you separate yourself from that phenomenon? Then you're not black. If it's a black thing, how you all of a sudden become not black? That's why I hate to hear black people talking about other black people as if they are separate from. No, that don't make you talk like that. You need to identify issues and address them fairly. We understand that in every community where poverty is an issue, you're going to have high crime. How come y'all not addressing those issues from a
Guess who stepped in the room? Asar Imhotep in the building. Yo, Garfield said anytime you want to do you a show or whatever, you can also, set that up. I know you ain't scared, Asar.
You got some explaining to do.
I know you ain't scared.
Yeah, we watched Chuck Morgan's explanation. He lined everything up with what you presented, and you got some explaining to do. That's just what it is. For lame folks like me who have no linguistic grounding, I could pretty much follow what he was saying. Maybe it's my ignorance, but I think you got some explaining to do.
Asar is my God, so therefore I'm on his side. So let me, you know what? With this thing, I think is people not understanding what it is. Because one side said what I'm saying I believe is true, and the other one saying the same thing. So it's just like who's really got the right information, basically, I guess.
Like I said, I don't know. So like Richard Carrier, he was doing his thing, and he got some strong rebuttal from some scholars, a peer-reviewed work. So he had some explaining to do with regards to his mythicist hypothesis. And in his new book that's coming out, he's doing a scholarly thing, and he's addressing the pushback that he got. Right, and having done the work, his numbers go even more in the direction of mythicism. But that's how that's done. And for the layman, I just enjoy the back and forth where scholars are presenting their information and encountering. So that's the learning process for the layman.
Oh my God! Look what he wrote in the chat.
Has been countered by our good brother Chuck Morgan. I think Assad's got some explaining to do. I don't know.
You know what?
What I heard,
scholar.
he has some explaining to do.
He think that Chuck Morgan don't know anything or don't know what he's talking about. So he wants a professional that knows what they talking about, so they could,
Yeah, but Chuck Morgan, he went and did the work, right?
Read Asar comment.
Yeah, but I'm countering that based on what Chuck Morgan presented. He actually went in and did the scholarly work. He went to school for what he's talking about. So in terms of being qualified, I think he's qualified to have that.
But do you understand what Chuck Morgan is saying?
Yeah, I understand what he presented. Now, if it is right or wrong, that is based on how a scholar responds to it. I'm following the discourse, but the discourse needs to take place. I mean, Chuck Morgan stated his case clearly, and Asa, I think you owe us and the community explanation. I mean, got some explaining to do. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. But I heard what I heard, so I want to hear what I'm saying. I mean, the way the claims about the cognates and the superficialness with which these language are being compared. I mean, these are the claims put on the table. I can understand that, and Chuck Morgan illustrated why this was in error. So Asa can do the same. I mean, he can break it down for the layman. I enjoy the back and forth, the intellectual discourse, of course.
No, but I think is a lot of emotion in some aspect of what's going on, because if I ask you summarize what Chuck Morgan talking about, I bet you don't know. I bet you don't know. And most people, they have their.
So you asked me. Let me state it clear. Asar's making claims that that there's a linguistic connection between Sumer and Bantu languages, if I'm not mistaken, or just let me say it just more general, with certain African languages. Right, that's the claim that Asar made, and he has some linguistics cognates that he proposes to illustrate his point. Now, Chuck Morgan came on and illustrated that half or more than half of the words that Asar has been claiming are Assyrian are in reality Akkadian. So he's not even well versed in the words that he's using. Now, this is what's been put on the table. So now I fully understand the argument. I fully understand what's going on. That's an assumption. Like I said, I enjoy the scholarly discourse. I illustrated that is happening right now with Richard Carrier. And based on what was presented, Asar owes us an explanation. He simply does. He could pull up the program, address each point that Chuck made, and provide us with the clarity. I mean, I am educated enough to follow an intellectual discourse like that, and it should take place.
Yeah, I hear you.
And to make the claim again that Chuck is not qualified, he actually went and did the work over the last couple of years to become qualified in the grammar, in the language, and the syntax, and all of that, which he illustrated while he was on the Community of Skeptics the other night. He laid the foundation for why he can have this conversation, and he illustrated key aspects. Now, if you are using Akkadian words and confusing them for Sumerian words and then making a link to African, you need to explain that. That's a clinical error. You need to explain that, own that, and you owe it to the community. It was presented a Community of Skeptics. You can always do that, invite us, and we listen diligently. You know that. Like, that's what we do. Am I wrong, Mika?
I'm just reading the chat. It's funny, man.
That's all. You got some explaining to do. That's all I'm saying. I mean, hey, listen. Hey.
Yo.
For the layman who doesn't understand this stuff, like, we need to get it. Hey.
Yo, so Mika.
So
if we talking about Assyriology, am I correct when talking about those two?
I think it's Sumer. Is it Sumer, Garfield?
Yeah, you need a Assyriologist for that.
I actually found a Jamaican Assyriologist this week. He did a presentation. Matter of fact, let me show him on the screen. He's gonna be the guy.
That's the point I was bringing up, that you would really need a Assyriologist to be able to fact check. You know what I mean? If there's any doubt as to the presentation.
I gotta watch my own Jamaican.
He also studies with Josh Bowen, and everyone knows in this community that Josh Bowen is one of the leading Assyriologists out there. And it's with Josh Bowen.
And he happens to be Chuck Morgan's teacher.
Exactly, and that is who the work was analyzed.
Hold on, guys. Hold on one second. Bring Garfield to the front. He could get it too. You don't want it with Garfield.
Yeah.
Don't put me in that mix. You know I'm a different breed when it comes to this. But anyway,
time off, and it took him like 3 weeks. And he basically,
his name is Omar Buckley. I'm going to reach out to him because that was recommended. And here he is, the Jamaican Assyriologist.
he does.
Reach out to Derek and
years ago.
Josh
Bowen. Same tanning, dyeing technique they would have used 2,000 years ago. And then he made it. He basically followed the design. This is basically what I sent him. And then this is what he sent me back. So because he has so much experience of making hundreds of shoes, he knows the materials they would have used in Rome and Greece.
Listen.
Yeah, I got feel. If you reach out to Derek, you could get Josh.
He said I need a white people.
I know Josh. I could call Josh right now, man.
I know. That's what I'm saying. And Josh is Chuck Morgan's teacher, so he's well aware of the
I
discussion
don't
we have.
think Josh is his direct teacher. He's a part of a group that does some teaching. I don't know if Josh
Yeah,
is his
well, he's directly affiliated. He wasn't his teacher. I mean, Chuck went to school, but he is in a group and works closely with Dr. Josh Bowen. But if you have direct contact with Josh Bowen, we could clear this up easy. I mean, since Asar wants a scholar, we could bring the ultimate one.
know where Asar is getting his information from. So
That's irrelevant. He wanted us to bring a scholar. We're gonna bring the number one Assyriologist, which is Dr. Josh Bowen. He want to have the discussion. He could do that.
okay, bring him. He's a PhD. What he in?
No, he's just an average white guy that don't know anything.
Yeah, he don't know nothing.
He don't know nothing. He don't know nothing.
He only got about six PhDs, but
that's all. Jeez.
that's Assyriologist. I mean, he's a Near East expert. I mean, Digital Hammurabi, I'm saying it properly, is his channel. I watch him all the time. So I follow this conversation much better than you think. But I gonna be diplomatic and want us to give us his perspective.
No, I need white people. Black people don't believe other black
That's
people.
what I'm saying.
That's
And
already
it's-
an idiot.
and
yo.
I know
That's
true
always
with
crazy.
black folks. Black folks don't believe other black folks. They would rather believe somebody of the European. So
Boy, if we still doing the black and white thing with regards to scholarship, when we understand the process, see, maybe it's only the white scholarship that understands the peer review process and going through the academic rigor. Or is it that black people think they could just put it in a book and sell it on Amazon and call that scholarship? Which is it? I don't know.
no, it's not that. But
I think when Asar, the great Asar Imhotep, starts to do the black and white thing, I think that undermines his credibility as a scholar, because that's the last thing that a scholar would refer to, and to digress the conversation when you obviously
So,
people that trying to have a scholarly conversation. I
yeah,
think it's
yeah, so can I ask you, so Mika,
yes.
do you think the bar is low or high in the black community?
Pertaining to what? The
What we talking about? Information, knowledge, scholarship, whatever. You think the bar is low or high?
It's low.
No, I tend to disagree. We are trying, for fundamentally pseudo killers, and especially Garfield, this platform, we set the bar very high. I mean, Garfield is the number one person who brings the highest level of scholarship to this community. And since then, the community of skeptic has also been a part of bringing on high level scholarship. So no, I would not accept that, Mika. It is maybe dudes like a star wants to maintain the bar low, but we tend to appreciate a very high bar.
Keep talking. He could talk over me all he want. But who thinks skeptic pseudo killer is a high bar?
When I say, let me be clear. Let me be clearer. Let me be clearer. Let me be clearer in my question, more specific, right? When I say the black community, I'm talking about as a whole, right? Not not particular like pseudo killers. Like that's a platform, and yeah, their bar is high, absolutely. Like Garfield, like this channel, the bar is high on this particular platform. But I meant as far as the masses of black, of black people. Do you think that the bar was high or low? To be more specific.
It's still
low. I think the bar is low.
Hella low. Hella low. What up, more
right?
Some people think that other environment is a high environment, and come on, really?
Well, we got these little pockets. We got these little pockets of platforms where we set the bar high. Absolutely, right? Absolutely. But if you look out, right, and with a wide scope and look around, that's what I'm asking: is the bar in scholarship high and low? I think it's very low.
Very
super low.
Very low.
And the main reason why it's low is because something that was mentioned earlier. There's no respect for education. There's no respect. It's the white man's education, and once that is is the thread that everybody's going to use when something doesn't agree with your stance, then there's no point in having a conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next question is, why do you think it's low?
No good education.
No, so do you think it's religion that pushes the bar down?
Oh, because you can still. Oh no.
That's part of it.
No.
I'm gonna start by saying socioeconomic position. Socioeconomic position creates the necessity for beliefs, right? Creates the environment of disparity, and especially in a system, a capitalist system where higher education costs you hundreds of thousands. If you're already struggling to make ends meet, and you're 14, 15, and you know you're not going to be able to afford to go to college, education is not something that is predominantly on your mind. So you get, and so then societal wise, you stay trapped in traditions because it's through education that you break tradition. So I'm going to always
That's a good point. That's a good point. So then that's a good point. So poverty, so would you say poverty, you know what I mean? Leads to that.
But predominantly, if you look at religiosity and education and poverty, they go hand in hand. Now the question is which one comes first. But in the case of Black people, we have a clear indicator. Why? Because we were held back. We were made poor. We were put in a position that we weren't able to elevate. And then we see the outcome of religion in these communities.
Okay, so Cedric, these are all good points. Good, definitely good points. So, do you think? Do it seem like the more educated you are, right, the less you believe in the the myths and biblical and religious stuff? The more educated you are, would you agree?
I would agree. Now, I'm going to say at the same time, there are many scientists that claim to be religious. And when you actually dig into it, they are more likely to be cultural Christians, right? They live in a society and they do not adamantly oppose it. It's a cultural aspect. Yes, we believe in God. Ask them if they really engage religiously.
So statistically, what percentage, right, if you know the answer, of scientists believe in God and gods and religious stuff? What percentage?
So when we say scientists, about 48, almost 50% on the general level. But when you go up into the levels of higher degrees, the masters and the PhD, those numbers jump down to like 14, 10%.
Like quantum physics and quantum mechanics.
Those are almost zero. In particular disciplines, is almost zero. So at the higher echelons of science, the PhDs, the masters, the researchers, they are predominantly atheists. So it is
So what does that tell you? So those numbers, right? What does that tell you? What does that say? What does that say to you? Because I'm gonna tell you what I'm asking. Because if we're talking about the universe, right, and we say, okay, the experts who know the most about the universe, right? The experts who know the more than you and I and the regular people about the universe, the quantum physics and so forth, right? If they, hold on, who's calling me? I'm sorry. So those people who know the most about the cosmos in the universe are atheists, the experts. What does that say to you?
It says that the more information you have, the more you understand the natural world we live in, the less and less that there's a need for God. And we can see that societal wise as well. God used to walk in the Garden of Eden amongst man. Then God resided in the mountains. Now God has been placed outside of space-time. So the more we understand the natural world around us, the more God recedes into the God of the gaps. We start to use God where we don't understand. That is the central theme about gods, and that allows us to understand why gods were created. Gods were created to help us understand the natural world around us. In our infancy, in our ignorance, gods gave us the answers we needed. However, the answers were unreliable, and human nature continued with that inquisitiveness. Eventually, we developed science. The more science develops, the more we understand about the natural world around us, the less and less needs for a God. What is the first
So,
question that you always
that's
get
good.
when you talk to a religious person? Oh, you
So
don't
what
believe in
about
God?
its?
Oh, go ahead.
So what about it? Yeah, what about its utility?
It has no well. The utility is anecdotal, right? Each individual, based on the based on their worldview and how they incorporate their gods. Their gods only suffices for their incredulity. What's happening after death? It is a part of our terror management system. It helps us to cope with our understanding of the finiteness of life, right? In terms of actual utility, in our modern society, no, our modern society is structured on humanism, methodological naturalism, and skepticism. We continue to develop as societies with technology and these things purely based on our understanding of the natural world, right? That's why you hardly see new gods being developed, because gods don't provide answers anymore.
Right, but does it have utility? Is the question. More specific, what I'm asking, its utility, because I've been doing some study and reading on. Okay, let's say, for instance, that we're dealing with, let's say, Christianity's 2.5, 2.8 billion, right, of people who subscribe to the Christian paradigm, right, and whether it's true or not, it seems to serve as some utility, right? You know what I mean, to these people,
Yes.
right? So the question is, it's like a two-part question: is does something have to be true to have utility?
No.
Right.
We did not develop to necessarily need truth. We developed for survival. So that bush rustling, it doesn't need to be a lion. I just need to believe it is a lion so I can run away. When I run away, I survive to reproduce. So the people that gave agency and to the rustling bush, those are the genes that's continued. So human beings inherently attribute agency to natural phenomena. That door slams. I don't care how much of an atheist you are. Someone is trying to get you. Someone or something is trying to get you.
You out of here, right?
No, first reaction is out of here.
Yeah, you be like, yo,
As much as
you
I'm
like,
not
I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I'll figure it out later on.
exactly. I heard bang, that means it's coming to get me. I'm out. I don't that is your human nature. I don't give a damn if you're an atheist or not. You see a shadow, that's someone there. That's our natural
Exactly.
tendency for agency. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I was reading about that, Cedric, in the book, The Believing Mind.
Yep. So
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
So that natural tendency, the fact that I have empathy, I can almost feel what you feel. And do you ever watch TV? So see someone get their leg snapped and you feel it? You didn't flinch. Or have a conversation with any particular individual in your head right now. You can hear
Yeah, so but I'm also said, right? So with these different groups, different Hebrew Israelite groups and Christians who we argue with, debate with, so forth. And I sit back and I look at this, right? And I say, okay, this religion or paradigm, right, or theology or school of thought that they subscribe to, it seems to have some utility to them, right? Well, you and I, we're questioning or we're going against, is it true or not? Right. Not its utility. So we have a different aim. You feel me? Because we're on the path for truth. We're looking for what's true in the universe, right? In the world, what's true. Where the other people on the other side of the fence are after utility because it gives them comfort. You feel me? It gives them hope. So it seems to have some utility, right, in their life. And us, we have a different bar, right? We have a different bar that we're looking at versus those people. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. That is the spectrum of human nature. As much as we are prone to believe and that faculty, that aspect of us can be hijacked, there's also the skeptic who was always part of society and that was necessary to move society forward. The one that questioned the status quo. So that is the dichotomy that exists in human nature. And you're right. They are looking at the utility of this system. What it does, it provides them with comfort. It provides them with an in group. It solidifies that. It solidifies your existence because those around you share the same idea. Again, a natural aspect of human nature. Anything that I discover before I am convinced that this is it, what it is, I need affirmation from a third party. The first thing you do when you find something out new, you need it confirmed. You're gonna go and, hey, Mika, check out what I found here. Are you seeing the same thing I'm seeing? What you see? Okay, now it's confirmed because this is novel. I'm not sure. And as a human being, I need affirmation. The whole idea of proselytization is to solidify that thing called faith. Faith is so counter to your nature that you need to convince an other. Once I can convince somebody else, then this thing, faith, becomes a little bit more real to me. The more people I convince, the false appeal to numbers. That's why you hear that. Look how much people believe in Christianity. Because for me to convince myself of something that is not part of human nature, I need confirmation from a third party. I need to be able to convince someone else. Me convincing someone else of this solidifies its reality for me. Otherwise,
So then,
no one ain't believing that.
so then that raises the question of objective and subjective, correct?
Indeed.
Right? Because by definition, subjective is mind dependent. It depends upon the mind. Where objective is independent of mind, correct?
Exactly. Yes.
Right, cool. So when people say, hey, Jesus is real to me, right? He's real in my life. He's done A, B, C to me, and I believe it. That's a subjective position. That's not objective, right? Because that can't be objectively verified at all. It's not objective. It's subjective, right?
Indeed, subjective and anecdotal, and no way can be used to affirm your your belief.
Right. So then the question then becomes, do you care if your beliefs are true? To me, you know what I mean? Like, do you care if what you believe is true? Right. That's A. B. Then how do you arrive? You feel me? At what's true, objectively, not subjectively.
By convincing you, right? They operate on flawed reasoning premises, appeal to numbers, etc. So it becomes true to me the more people that are convinced by it. Proselytization is a fundamental requirement for every Christian. that engagement solidifies something that can't be solidified otherwise. I got someone to affirm that what I'm seeing is there. I know I ain't seeing nothing, but if you see what I'm seeing, then it's okay. Do you see Jesus too? Yeah, right? You see Jesus too, right? You hear me? Yeah, right? So that makes it more real for you, because that's the appeal to numbers, because there is no coherent logical process engaged with religion. It, like, even belief, like human beings operate off belief, but we operate off of empirical belief.
Right. So that's good. That's good. That's good. So watch this. So while we use scientific method, right, to determine of truth or what is true, we use the scientific method. What method do religious people use? What's their methodology?
Yeah, that is what I was going to expound on. See, we use empirical belief. The sun's going to come up tomorrow. I believe that. Why? It's come up 6 billion times before, 600 billion times before. I'm warranted and justified in that belief. 1 and 1 is 2. That's a logical necessity. I need to believe that. That's a logical necessity. Those two types of belief are warranted because there is data-driven, true justified belief and empirical belief. The religious person requires belief in the absence of any sort of empiricism, and it requires you to believe despite empiricism to the contrary. So what it does, it screws up your natural process of reasoning. What is instinctive to human being, you have to suppress. So all your premises, all your reasoning is going to be based on false logic, appeal to numbers, anecdotal accounts, the worldview narrative of your engagement with actual data, and you create a dichotomy. You operate within your natural faculties all day, and you suspend those faculties when it comes to your belief. To maintain your belief, you have to deny reality. You create a vicious circle that eventually leads to people becoming delusional.
Okay. Okay. So then let me ask you this. What is wrong with belief? I'm playing advocate right now. What is wrong with belief?
Nothing. Like I said, I know surgeons that believe in God, go to church and will tell you praise God, but the moment they cross that hospital threshold, their only thought process is medical engagement, understanding the science and applying. There is never a point in time that surgeon is going to say, right, let me pray to God to understand how to deal with this particular case. He's not going to do that. He's going to address the books. He's going to address proper methodology. There are scientists that can make that distinction. However, once you cannot make that distinction, you end up like James Tour, whose belief has stagnated and destroyed his career as a credible biochemist. The two don't mix.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'm doing this on purpose to give you the floor. You know that, right?
I know. I appreciate it.
This is great. This is good. I hope that people listening, this is what I'm doing it for, because I'm probably asking questions that people in the chat who's listening may ask. You know what I mean? So I put it out there to hopefully they can extrapolate something from it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, the whole discussion of the historicity of the Bible, it's not even a debate amongst actual biblical historians. They understand how to put things in context. Garfield does that excellent. But again, when we're operating in an arena where people actually believe the content of the book as factual, they are not willing to engage in what it actually represents. Why is this story written like that? What was the incentive? What was the motive? But you first need to accept that it's a story. You need to understand how tropes are developed, which tropes are being used. That is a whole scientific and academic.
That's a whole study within itself. Absolutely. So then,
to believe.
Yeah. So could you believe in a deity, a higher power, God, or whatever you want to call it, without any of the books?
Oh yes, I mean there are many theistic naturalists that say, hey, listen, there's a force out there. I believe that there's a force out there. I don't know what it is. I can't quantify it, but that's the force that set all of this in motion. From right there, they're going to talk about Big Bang cosmology. They're going to talk about the gaps in abiogenesis. They're going to explain to you in detail how evolution took place, but still maintain that there's a higher force out there, right? Those are the people that don't try to quantify it, don't try to put...
Right. Those are people who are what they call it, a deist, right?
Yeah, deists, right? And the pantheists that says, listen, nature and all its forces, that is what I consider God. That's Spinoza's God, right? Someone that sees the four fundamental forces and their interaction as divine. And
Hey, I gotta cut this off and start the next show because we're already live. All right.
All right.
So, peace and love. I'm a
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's go.
Conversation.
All right.